Everyone welcome.
I got a brand new style that blow your mind with. Lyrically sweet, in a whole I got a brand new style that blow your mind with. Lyrically sweet, in a whole
Wait, you paid money for that? You paid money to like half-ass insult me. Why? Is this like a...
How do you expect the kids to pay for themselves? You tight git. It's your birthday, boy, but make sure you bring your pocket money because you've got to buy dinner. Are you alright today? You've been drinking?
down to ride it and when you have a love that's right and she like you right and
we go down to Croydon.
Down to ride it and
Lino, Lino, Lino.
cause she down to ride it and cause she down to ride on. When you have a love that's right and she like you right on, cause she down to ride on.
How you doing this morning, girl? Hope you and the kiddos are all good.
She down to ride on. When you have a love that's right and she like you right on, cause she down to ride on.
Out of that into this. AI. Absolute belter. And I absolutely love this drink. Track entitled Desperado. Right, little smoke on.
I'll do anything. I'll do anything. Anything you ask me.
KCMO, you been on a production, have ya? Gotta fire that my way, ain't ya? Surely.
Yeah. Good evening. It's been a long while. Probably a lot of people have unfollowed. My New Year's resolution is to stream a little bit more about politics, but I'm easing in with a bit of pop culture commentary. Tonight we're looking at Bad Hasbara's episode on The West Wing, which has been a culturally formative political experience for many people around my age. And the damage that has done is incalculable. And we're going to look at why. And I have some things to say about this, which they did not cover. The West Wing, in case you didn't know, was a mid-90s political TV kind of... It's difficult to tell. If you're not familiar with Aaron Sorkin, he was a TV producer primarily. He was known for TV, who came up with a number of kind of well-worn tropes that are used. Like, he came up with a few, like, sort of cinematic devices, such as the rapid-fire witty conversation, the walk and talk, where the camera is following two people who are walking and talking through a hallway, the busyness of professionals who are always, they're hyper-competent, hyper-educated, always doing things as they, talking while they're doing things. He's a Democrat, like he's a liberal. And he started a TV show called The West Wing in the mid to late 90s, which was kind of a wish-casting TV show about a Democratic presidency. Although I should note that he was a big Clinton fan. A lot of it was based upon, I guess, some issues came up during the Clinton presidencies, which he involves in the TV show. He makes episodes out of them. Except it's a more liberal Clinton presidency. Clinton was not particularly liberal at all. And this is where Bad Hasbara here, there are a number of problems if you're on the left. When you look at this, there are other problems associated. I mean, primarily I'm covering the way they viewed the Palestine issue and Muslims, Arabs, Middle Eastern people impossible, which in general, which was horrible. But there were also other issues, labor issues, which were also questionable, which probably don't have time to discuss here. but it's a very arc liberal point of view. It's a very third way liberal show, which I think poisoned a lot of people's brains. I mean, there's a bunch of people in Australia, for example, who work for both the Labour. Apparently, this is what I've heard through the grapevine, mostly from the Labour Party, who kind of have this West Wing brain, which is not healthy. And certainly people in the Liberal Party, which is our right-wing party here, who view things through the same rubric. But here we go. We're going to start with this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bad Hasbara, the world's most moral podcast. My name is Matt Lieb. I'll be your most moral host for this very special episode of Bad Hasbara. We do not have Daniel Mate. He is not here this week for this episode, which is unfortunate because this is a very special episode. And we really, honestly, I miss him. Wherever you are, Daniel Mate, just know that I'm missing you intensely. But luckily for me, this is a special podcast where we're going to be talking about movies and TV shows, very specifically this time a TV show. That's right. It's part 2 of Bad Kol Noah. That's where we do, rewatches of Israeli propaganda movies and TV shows. And I have 2 of my regular Bad Kol Noah guests. That's right. Last time when we did it, we watched Golda together, which is available to everyone right now. If you haven't seen our rewatch of Golda, it's really fun. It's a really shitty movie about Golda Meir.
Not sure if I want to see that.
Go ahead and watch that if you can. Patreon.com/badasbara. Also, badasbara@gmail.com
That will be
for your
painful.
questions, comments, concerns, and requests. Do you have a movie or a TV show you would like us to watch and make fun of? Let me know. I would love that. Also, shout out to producer Adam Levin. He's going to be joining us in the second half because one of our guests has to go. So you will be seeing him a little bit later. But for right now, I'm very excited to introduce our 2 guests, the returning champions of Bad Kol Noah. We have, of course, the founder of Palestine Nexus, and our dear, dear friend Zachary Foster is here. Zachary, how you doing?
Thanks so much for having me,
I'll
Matt.
be right
Always
back.
a pleasure to be on Bad Hasbara.
I love having you on, and I especially love having you on for these episodes because there's no better Hasbara buster out there, I think, than you. I think you are, to me, like the number one guy. You're the go-to person. You always have the facts. You have an encyclopedic brain. It's truly incredible to watch.
You're too kind, Matt.
Oh, I'm a normal amount of kind. I'm just saying. Tell me about Palestine Nexus real quick. Let the people know about it.
Yeah, Palestine Nexus is a educational and media brand. I founded about 5 years ago. We publish a newsletter on Palestine, past and present. We publish a lot of writers in Gaza right now. Every week, we've got a couple articles coming out from writers and journalists in Gaza. We also have courses. You can study the history of Zionism, of Jewish anti-Zionism, of Palestine, of the Palestinians, all at PalestineNexus.com.
Yeah, check it out. It's really cool. And again, thank you for coming on. And our other guest, he is my other podcast soulmate, the OG. We do a podcast together called the Fraudcast. We also do TV rewatch podcast called Pod Yourself a Gun, which is was a Sopranos rewatch. Then it became a The Wire rewatch, and now it is a Mad Men rewatch podcast. And you can get that wherever you get your podcasts. And also he has a wonderful Substack called the #Content Report. You can get that in the show notes. Click on the link, subscribe to his Substack. My dear, dear friend,
If
a
there are any
person who
problems
I am
with sound
proud to
levels,
call my
please tell me.
stepson. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, Vince Mancini is here.
Your significantly older stepson. How are you
That's
doing,
right.
Papa?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm doing well, son. I say that because me and his mother have a relationship. Oh, we're having fun. Vince.
Yeah.
Vince, how are you doing? Are you excited?
Are you occupying her Gaza Strip?
That's right, baby. She give me
Yeah.
that Iron Dome. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you've used that one before.
I have.
Yeah.
So, Vince, tell the people more about yourself. You're a TV critic.
Yeah, critic, a writer, bon vivant, some would say, raconteur. Big fan of anything Aaron Sorkin. I feel like about, 10, 12 years ago, I started to like notice all of his ticks and like even things that I'd liked that he'd done. It like retroactively made me dislike them, just like how much he always does his thing. So going back to the West Wing was fun because I never watched it when it originally came out. So now it's like a memory hold Sorkin project to get to see.
Yeah, it is. It's quite amazing. And yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about 2 Israel-based episodes of the West Wing on this podcast. I'm very excited. I made both of you watch the West Wing. You guys saw it's season 5 episode 21 called Gaza, and then season 6 episode 2 called The Burnham Wood, and these are both just like beautiful time capsules of liberal Zionist thought pre 2005. Like this is like 2004. I think it was the tail end of the Second Intifada. It came out at a time when, obviously the peace process had failed, and it is just like, you know why it's beautiful? If you've never watched The Newsroom, Aaron Sorkin did a show called The Newsroom, in which it's a show about a 24-hour news network, and
set like 18 months before the shows would air, and so it was like
so we would do this smarmy liberal thing of like being right in hindsight, but he would pretend as if it was right at the time. So we would report stories that 18 months later you would have a little bit more perspective on, and treat you and the world like an idiot for having the wrong take. It essentially was just a smarmy liberal show about what the news should be.
What you need to do if you've never seen The Newsroom is to like look up the clip about when they learned of Osama bin Laden getting assassinated, and they're on a plane.
Oh my
and
God.
like everybody salutes the
Everyone starts saluting the pilot.
Like there's actually a shot where he like looks at the pilot's wings, like his badge, and like realizes that he needs to respect him, and then they all press F to show respect for the killing of bin Laden.
That's right. It is truly beautiful. But watching this is kind of like the opposite of The Newsroom, because he, instead of like going back in time and being correct, his perspective is just naive and wrong and stupid. And like you get to watch him be supremely confident about his beautiful middle ground position about Gaza, about Palestinian human rights.
Listen, it's about technocratic solutions.
That's right. To what are really emotional problems.
Yeah.
Zach, is this your first time seeing The West Wing? First time seeing any Sorkin?
Let's say yes. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but I don't know if I've sat through 2 full episodes like I just did in the past 24 hours.
I'm so sorry.
But do you know the answer to who ordered the code red? I think is the more.
But I'm just gonna put in here that if Matt Lieb watched this, I'm not clear on whether or not Matt Lieb watched this at the time, but at the time, if you were kind of like a left liberal, this was an incredible show. It was just like, oh, if only we could do that. Looking back on it now, it is incredibly... I don't like to use the word cringe, but that's what it is. You look back on it now and think, my God. At the time, there were certain things about it that were racist, especially when it comes to MENA issues. there were issues regarding free trade and labor, which were less. If you have a bit less of an understanding, if you had a bit of a less understanding of it at the time, it seems reasonable. But when you look at it now with what we know, it's It's just horrible. It's a TV show that is aged like milk, essentially, and it's very funny to look at back at it now, and think where people who were fans of it have diverged, either fully bought into it or fully gone off it. I'm one of the latter.
Yeah. But so, for you, I wanted to bring you on to talk about this, and I know you do have to go in a few, so I just want to kind of get your perspective on a few things that happened in both of these episodes. But just as a quick overview, did you, in the second episode that we watched, the Burnham Wood, it is essentially a sort of reimagining of like the Camp David summit. When you were watching that episode, did you see them historically taking positions from things that actually happened, or what did you feel about it?
Yeah, there were some fictional elements to this fictional drama series, because so first of all, on the issue of Jerusalem, I think it was ironic because, just to back up, right, they're talking about all these different tracks, right? We got the Jerusalem track, we got the refugees track, we got the borders and security track, and we got the resources and water track, or whatever it was. And so they first make Jerusalem out to be the hardest of all the tracks, which ended up being the easiest of all the tracks to resolve, ironically, in history. I mean, by 2008, right, so you have these negotiations beginning in 2000, going all the way to 2000. Let's say there's even the John Kerry initiatives in 2013-14, but let's say the serious peace talks took place in Camp David in July 2000. Then you had renewed talks in Taba in 2001, a year later. And then you had the 2007-2008 Annapolis discussions between Ehud Olmert and Mahmoud Abbas. Now, of all the issues where they got closest to an agreement, actually Jerusalem was the issue where they got closest to an agreement, in which Ehud Olmert agreed that the Jewish neighborhoods of Jerusalem would go to Israeli control, and the Palestinian neighborhoods of Jerusalem would go to, wait for it, Palestinian control. That was the breakthrough they reached after 9 years of negotiation. I know, mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Whereas, actually, the refugee issue, they completely, I think, misrepresented. There was never any recognition on the part of the Israelis, certainly not in 2000, not even 2001, and not even in 2008, that they took any responsibility whatsoever for having created the refugee problem in the first place, let alone offer compensation, let alone offer right of return. So that was just, they just made all that shit up.
That was the craziest shit, was like watching them talk about, like, get into serious discussions about the right of return with the Israelis. And I'm just watching this and I'm like, this is such fantasy that, like, Sorkin is sitting there trying to, because he's a liberal Zionist, right? So he's like holding this position that he knows occupation is wrong, and he knows that, like, the Palestinians are oppressed people and having their human rights trampled by the Israelis. So he can't simultaneously ignore the fact that they would have refugees would have the right of return. So he has to write the Israelis as more reasonable than they are when it comes to this stuff. It's just really funny watching him fantasy cast the Israelis, and also kind of, while still showing much more sympathy for them than he does for any of the Palestinians. I was watching this from the perspective, obviously, of someone who sees the future, knows where all of this goes, and is like, the idea that we are sitting watching a show in which the President of the United States, President Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen,
they wish casted
just a
president
Yeah, I'm sorry,
They wish
but he's just
casted
like
a
sitting in
president
the
who
middle.
plays basketball. which is
Yeah,
my
that
favorite
was the
part.
best.
That was amazing. They wish casted that. We
a
didn't
great
have
scene.
that until West Wing was like, you know what we need? A president who plays basketball.
That's
and then
right.
we got one. Amazing.
Good 55-year-old basketball player. I'm pretty much running out of steam at age 40. I don't know how these guys go.
Yeah. Hey,
He's also like 5'6", I think.
yeah. Well, they're all 5'6".
True,
Um,
true.
But yeah, I just love.
You know, I got to tell you, when I was 33 or 32 in the US, I found an empty basketball court with a basketball in it. And I played basketball a lot when I was in high school and a bit after. And when I was 30 and I was trying to shoot hoops for the three-point line, I was not making it. I was just hitting air. It was incredible how bad it gets as you get older.
Love casting the president of the United States, President Bartlett, as this middleman between these two parties that just can't get along, as if the United States, especially, you know, when we're talking about like post Jimmy Carter, the United States has just been the total and complete advocate for the Israeli position.
The disapproving uncle, just like,
Yeah.
why
yeah.
can't they get it figured out?
You know what it is? It's this religious difference. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
When they show the
The religious difference is what most people, by the way, at least online and actually in person from what I've seen, in Australia, they do generally think it is a religious difference that's been going on for like 4,000 years or some shit, even though Islam didn't actually exist 4,000 years ago. But that's the kind of general... that's the idea in a lot of the mainstream West. That's actually what people think. It's an ancient, intractable problem.
scene with the Shabbat dinner, and you have all the Israelis around the Shabbat dinner, and then the scene with the Palestinians. All of them are Muslim, of course, even though like 20% of Palestinians are Christian.
Even though the guy who's playing Farad, who's like the chairman of the PA, is literally a Palestinian Christian actor who lives in 48. Of course, they're like, no, they got to be.
That's true. The guy who plays Farad in this episode is a Palestinian Christian. And I wonder because there are ways, the process when you're filming a TV show or a film, where you read out the lines and you do the scene, what your impression of what the scene will be like is not necessarily what comes out after. It can be completely different after editing. So I wonder what this actor's opinion is post the edit, after the TV show came out. Because it made him look a little bit sympathetic, but not that great at the same time. Whereas this is a man who, in real life, the actor, was a 48er. So he's seen his own life, his own family be uprooted and be fucked off by, the Haganah and what have you.
Be Muslim. They gotta be.
This hasbara episode, I think, was epic because, as you probably know right now, in the past few months,
Yeah.
there have been a number of studies undertaken by these hasbara
I'll be right back.
crowds. And what they've determined is that it's impossible to recover from genocide. Like, there's nothing Israel can do. But if it shifts focus on the fact that Palestinians are Muslims, and
Yeah.
we just hate on Muslims, Americans and Europeans can agree on that.
Yes.
So,
And,
which you saw a little bit of that in that episode.
oh yeah.
I mean, this was woke for the time because
Yes.
it never used the Muslim call to prayer as like an ominous portent, and they only used Allahu Akbar as like as something that you hear when you're about to die, like once or twice. So
Yeah.
really, I mean, for 2004, impressive.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about liberalism is that they're always kind of impressed with their own wokeness, and I'm not, I don't take anything away from people who are not all the way there. I think the problem I have is that and before getting into the episodes, is that Aaron Sorkin has not evolved since then. In fact, Aaron Sorkin left CAA in protest of a pro-Palestine agent. This happened in 2003, obviously after October 7th. It was on October 24th. He dropped CAA after agent Maha Dakhil's controversial Israel-Hamas posts. in which she literally, these were the posts. She had a post that said, "You're currently learning who supports genocide," and she added her own caption. That's someone else's post, and her own caption was, "That's the line for me." That's what she wrote. And then she posted a second photo caption, "What's more heartbreaking than witnessing genocide? Witnessing the denial that genocide is happening." That caused her to get publicly shamed and broken up with by Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin has continued to be a liberal Zionist. This is why people don't trust liberals.
Is she the one that Tom Cruise got reinstated, or was that Jenny Ortega?
No, that Tom Cruise.
That was her. Okay.
Tom Cruise essentially said, "Do not. If you fire her, I'm leaving." And they chose Cruise over Sorkin, which
Obviously,
based. But yeah, so that's why I find it particularly funny. Let's start this pod first, Vince, in honor of you and I's time together as TV rewatch guys. I first need to play the theme song of The West Wing. West Wing. West Wing.
That's not it.
Wing. West Wing. That is Mara. All right.
We're trying not to get banned here from YouTube. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Listen. This episode will be demonetized at the very least, at the most copyright struck. So this is the things we have to deal with. So we're starting with episode 5. Season 5, episode 21, Gaza. And I'll do a brief rundown of this episode. So we start off with, we're at the Erez checkpoint in Gaza. Now, this is at a time before, I believe, and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, before Gaza was completely walled off. Is that correct? Or was this the beginning of the building of the wall?
When was this episode shot? What year are we talking?
2004, 2003.
I mean, we're sort of right before Gaza. The number of entry and exit points between the border crossings kind of starts to fall off a cliff in 2005.
Yeah.
So if you look, it's like 2005 is like people can still get in and out. 2006, mostly not, and by 2007, especially after June 2007, they're basically completely closed. So we're right at the cusp of that period.
Yeah. So at this point, there's still people going in and out, but checkpoints closing all the time. This is mentioned in the episode, and we have a visiting U.S. congressional delegation who are standing around arguing about basically they're doing the argument about Israel-Palestine. They're standing there arguing about it. And there is a hot photographer who's looking at Donna, who is a series regular on the show, takes a picture of her. There's some history. We don't know. She gets in the car and it explodes. Now,
Photographer
this
is
is just
Jason
one of those
Isaacs, by the
scenes
way.
that as I was watching it, I was like getting mad because the conversation the congressional delegation is having is pissing me off, because it's like, I know it's Aaron Sorkin going like, this is what they would discuss while standing at the Erez crossing. And
I mean,
Like, first of all, the Erez crossing, by the way, feels like an international airport. I've been through that crossing twice.
Yeah.
They make it out to be this little, nimble, like flying checkpoint. That's no.
Dusty road.
It's like an international check. It's like crossing international border.
Yeah.
And it's very intense checkpoint. So no, that's not.
Yeah.
I mean, the restraint that it took Aaron Sorkin to write that scene without putting in a "you think" is just amazing, because he's like the king of people saying "you think," because he has to acknowledge his own smugness, because it's that stultifying. But like I think the one guy says, after 50 years, one option would be to get over it, and that is the most Aaron Sorkin line ever.
Dude, and that line reveals, I think, a lot about Aaron Sorkin's actual feelings about this.
Because is it all, like, so many of his lines feel like you can tell that the character is just reading like a strongly worded email that Aaron Sorkin himself wants to write, and like that is case in point right there.
Just to provide more context so people understand that the context within which he says that sentence, oh, after 50 years, can't they just get over it? They're talking about the right of return for refugees, right?
Yeah.
And so Jews have a right of return after 3,000 years, but 50 years, just get over it.
Right, yeah.
Come on.
And it's so clear to me that like so many of the characters that are written to be like the more fervently Zionist, like Josh, Josh is what
Bradley Whitford.
I don't know the name of the actor. There's two
The demented weasel guy from Billy Madison, that guy with the power alleys.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's two. So I don't know too many of the names of characters. So there's the bald guy.
Bradley Whitford in real life is a big Clinton fan, by the way. He hates Bernie people. Like, he calls them Bernie bros.
Who I called like reasonable Jew, and then there's him who I call annoying Jew.
He's the Eggman. Jew.
Wait, are all of these characters in the film is supposed to be Jewish, or sorry?
No,
no.
just those two characters, because they have a conversation later in the Burnham Wood episode where like one is representing a more sort of liberal Zionist, and then Josh represents, I think, Aaron Sorkin's id, which is kill them all.
By the way, like,
what?
I've got to mention that there's another character in here. I forgot what the character's name is, but he's a guy with glasses who entered in the later series. But the actor's name is Joshua Molina, and Joshua Molina's, like, ever since October 7 happened. I mean, I didn't even know that he was Jewish. Like, I thought he was Italian. But after October 7 happened, his Twitter persona is changed to that triple parentheses thing that they do. And he puts Jew in there. Jew in triple parentheses. He's a full liberal Zionist. I'm so much of a victim here. Absolutely denying the genocide. Absolutely denying that everything that anything that people have accused Israel of is wrong in any way, and just skirting over the fact that probably at least about 100,000 Palestinians have been killed as a direct result of this, and denying certainly that genocide has happened. That's Joshua Molina, and his character in this, he's got glasses, he's like a youngish looking guy. He is basically his character in the TV show, which is just a completely unsympathetic. Israel is not the problem here. It's all the Arabs. That's what he is. That's his persona, is his character.
Watching, the bald guy's name is Toby. That's the name of that character.
Richard Schiff.
Yeah, and so in that conversation where he's like, well, why don't they just get over it? I was like watching it. I was fuming because I know deep down that's where Aaron Sorkin is, which is like, your land is colonized. It is ours. Get over it. And it just makes me incredibly mad. And anyways, here's that scene for people to watch.
They're a displaced population. Displaced? Palestinians move, what, 15, 20 miles? You ever move? I grew up in Dayton.
They're still refugees.
You know, after 50 years, one option might be to get over.
Oh wow, that was great editing there.
Yeah, shout out to producer Adam Levin, who edited the shit out of that video. That is how I felt. So this episode, the Gaza episode, we'll just get into the different, like, usually when we're doing a rewatch podcast, Vince and I, we're getting into every different storyline. I do not give a shit about the other storylines in this. The only thing I care about is what's happening in Gaza and the reactions to it. I don't care about the relationships between these characters.
Well, she's doing the maybe dead girl's doing like a Doogie Howser thing on her, where she writes. she's writing emails back home about facts that she's learned about Palestine.
Yes. That's how the story is told. So it's like it starts out with before the explosion. We flash back, and there's a meeting with Fatah leaders, and they're there's one point where the Palestinian leadership is talking about how Israel targets civilians, and the general there the admiral who was blown up, the black guy who said after 50 years, his amazing counterpoint is, oh, so when you guys blow up a pizza shop, you don't target civilians. And I love casually comparing your
Israel famously never targets places where people just hang out and just be normal. Hospitals, cafes, office buildings. Yeah, that never happens. Israel would never do that.
Professional army to acts of terrorism. Like, to me, I'm just like, there's a difference. You're the army, right? You can't just be like, well, you guys, it's you can't pretend to have moral high ground while openly, saying like we're just following the rules of engagement set by terrorism or whatever. And so we meet a hot Irish photojournalist, played by, what is his name?
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Donna. You know what I love about the character of Jason Isaacs is that he is supposed to be any Irishman that you would see.
I think he's Scottish, isn't he?
Well, no, in the show he's Irish.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's in real life. He's Scottish, though, right?
I don't know. I don't care.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's not important, dude.
What race is he?
Yeah, I have to be able to categorize. Can we measure his skull and see which which type of bread eater he is?
I just do some like on-site phrenology.
He's from Liverpool, if you guys are wondering. A scozer.
I wasn't. No one was.
Well, now you know. And I feel bad about telling you.
Okay, so he is playing this like Irish photojournalist, and my guess is that because he's Irish, you're supposed to think like, oh, he's someone who is pro-Palestine or whatnot, and I think that's the way the show's trying to represent him, at least aesthetically. But in terms of what he says and what he talks about throughout the show, like he is mostly leading Donna throughout Gaza, teaching her about Gaza, and just casually in an Irish accent spitting hasbara at her.
He's doing what was considered woke for 2004, which is like saying that, well, the thing about all Muslims is that they all yearn to be martyrs, but it's only because they're so oppressed.
Yes.
And that's the woke part. You're like, so it's like delivering like a very like propagandistic talking point, but it's like,
yes.
But it's actually, it's our fault. We used mean words. And so,
right. Yeah.
But this propaganda point is so powerful, and it echoes in the words of people today, very prominent intellectuals, people like Ezra Klein, who as recently as about a year ago was basically saying, when I compare Netanyahu to Hamas, I take the side of Netanyahu because he doesn't intentionally target civilians, whereas Hamas does.
Yeah, it's a well-known. I mean, I don't know if the internet is representative of people in general, though I get the feeling that it is, at least in the West, that they really do think that people from the MENA region, and I'm not satisfied with the term Islamophobia here, because to be Muslim and Islam in general is a highly racialized. So people call that, you always get some idiot who'll be like, oh, that's a religion. We're not allowed to criticize religions now. But the fact is, it's a highly racialized religion. People's perception in the West of Muslims, of Islam, is that these are intrinsically brown people. Arabs, North Africans, Pan-Arabs, they're all basically Muslim, even if they're not Muslim. Like, even the Christians are still Muslim, in a way. They're all just like that. according to Western people. So like there's this. I mean, and I can't really blame ordinary people in the West for this because it's been hammered into people's brains. The people from this region, people from these cultures, intrinsically, they're okay with dying. They don't give a shit about their kids. The kids can die. They can die as long as they kill their enemies. They're willing to throw themselves at the enemy at numbers of like 1,000 to 1 as long as they can just make a point. That is genuinely, even what well-meaning Westerners believe. I think at heart, even people who go to pro-Palestine protest, I think a lot of white people kind of still think that. Like in their heart of hearts, they still believe that people from the MENA region are insane, irrational psychos who believe in, fairy tales, who kill themselves to be martyred, and they'll be rewarded for it. That's honestly the point of view. And even Ivan, don't bother denying it. Because even I, as a much younger dude, kind of internalized that for a while. I did believe that about our own people. And it's still kind of a bias which pulls at you from the corner of your psyche every time you hear one of these stories. And it's just, it's, that is the perniciousness of Western propaganda. They feed it to you through Hollywood, through naming bias in news headlines, the out-group homogeneity, theory. That all these people are homogenous, they all want to kill you, even the moderate ones.
That's Ezra Klein a year ago.
Yeah, and it's crazy how long this kind of propaganda has lasted, and to be honest, like I give a lot of grace for at least people I know, personally, who are just now coming to see, but the people who still are not. That's what like drives me fucking crazy.
People in the news whose job is the news.
Yes, whose job is the news, who are still like, no, I'm still firmly dug in on the sometimes those kids gotta die position.
Sometimes kids get accidentally shot in the head twice.
It happens all the time. I mean, the Hamas health ministry says. But yeah, so here is one piece of hasbara that happens, which I think is fascinating. Donna meets a guy who can't go to work because Israel closed the crossings. And,
oh my god, this part
his
is
friend
insane.
tells him he should be a martyr. And I'm going to play that clip for you right now.
I might have to eat dinner soon, so I'll be going to GiftTube for a bit while I do that because I don't like eating on stream.
I am not unemployed.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Israelis closed the checkpoints after suicide bombings.
The woman last week.
Right.
I can't work to feed my family.
فيك تعمل مثلهم يا خاين وين الكرامة؟ انظر المجد والخلود لشهدائنا.
He says I should become one of them.
What's it say?
Glory and eternity for our martyrs.
The Palestinian Authority pays $2,000 to the families of martyrs, plus $150 a month until the last child leaves home.
I wish to work, but these martyrs takes food out of my children's mouths.
That's good, yeah.
I wish to work in Israeli Intel factory in Soda Stream. They give me work at Soda Stream, and I cannot work. God bless Israel, and God damn Hamas.
So this is a fact that I hear all the time, and it was more of a prominent like hasbara meme. It is forever World War II era in Palestine and American TV. That's right. It's one of those like hasbara memes that is maybe more of a deep cut if you're new to this. But Zach, you know about the pay to slay propaganda?
Certainly, yeah. There's so much to say about this. So if you give me a minute or two.
Yes, please.
So first of all, the first misconception about the quote-unquote pay to slay program is that anyone killed by the Israeli military, be it in an attack on a civilian, an attack on a soldier, be it a kid who was accidentally shot in the head twice, Doesn't matter who you are or how you're killed by Israel. If you're killed by Israel, the Palestinian Authority will pay your family members some amount of money for a long period of time. Now, this quote-unquote paid-to-slave program was actually recently significantly cut back on in order as Mahmoud Abbas was doing all he possibly could to lick the boot of the Israeli military and the American government. He actually significantly cut that program back. And so it's operating in a very diminished scale now to the in comparison to what it was before. But I think the bigger point to make about all of this is that guess what other country also has a pay-to-slave program, by the way? It's called Israel. And in fact, if you go, this has been reported on for a long time, but it's never called pay-to-slave because we have a double standard by which when Palestinians and Israelis do exactly the same thing, when the Israeli does it, we call him a soldier. When the Palestinian does it, we call him a terrorist, right? So when Israel does something, it's self-defense. When Palestinian does something, it's terrorism. So that exact same framing happens in the case of pay-to-slave, whereas, so they call it pay-to-slave for the Palestinians, but if you're an Israeli soldier and you're accidentally shooting kids in the head twice every day for 780 days, and you get killed doing that, your family members, including your fiance, who you haven't even married yet, will receive benefits to the tune of thousands of US dollars per month for periods of years and years and years after you are killed, which is literally the pay-to-slave program, except in reverse for the occupier, for the genocider, for the apartheider.
Yeah. And it's so funny too, because you're watching the way in which this type, like pay-to-slave, was absolutely a, focus group, PR tested piece of propaganda, that a publicist created or an ad man created, right? And it is only something you hear about as with regards to, like, did you know that they pay terrorists to do suicide bombings? It's the same with the word martyr, the way in which they use the word martyr throughout this episode. Everyone wants to be a martyr, oh, you should be a martyr. This idea of martyrdom, it's like everyone's understanding of it in 2004 is very like 9/11 pilled, right? Like they're trying.
I can't believe they didn't mention 72 virgins.
I know, they got close.
Again, like this was so restrained, and this is like a perfect example of the kind of like centrist liberal position that Aaron Sorkin is always taking, where it's like he's congratulating himself for showing you this like reasonable Palestinian man. Like, see, look, we depicted this reasonable Palestinian man who was not at all bloodthirsty. It's just that everyone around him and all of his friends want him to become a martyr.
Right? Yeah. Which it's so genocidal in nature, because it's just like they're literally saying, here's one good one.
Yeah, we found the good one. I'm good because I'm showing you the good one of this obviously group of bad people.
And then on the other side, when that reporter is interviewing the Israeli soldier.
Oh, I love this scene.
Oh my God, maybe we can watch it. If you want.
Yeah, we gotta watch it right now.
The settler one was
the settler one is great too, but this one is so good because it shows you exactly.
Humanity.
Yeah,
the kindness and the empathy that all Israeli soldiers have deep down inside.
Yes. So throughout the show, Donna is going around and talking to different people. She talks to settlers, she talks to that Palestinian, and she then goes to talk to an IDF soldier who was stationed at this settlement in Gaza. By the way, this is at a time when settlements still existed in Gaza, and so she's talking to him, and just look at the care that they have for this soldier. Look at the humanity, and it just so clearly shows the ideological position of the writer of the show, of everyone on the show. And so here it is.
12 women, girls, 19, killed in their barracks.
Tell her what happened then.
So he's talking about soldiers who were.
Excuse me, what did you just say, sir? You said barracks?
So
they died inside a pastry. What did he just say?
He's talking about soldiers who were killed by Palestinian mortar rounds that hit a barracks in a settlement, and so he's explaining this to Donna.
After the deaths of the girl soldiers, some in my unit, they'd call on loudspeaker in Arabic, taunting, calling them names, filthy names. And young Palestinians would come out from hiding, boys with rocks, and they shoot them with live bullets. Donna, I serve with them. They're not evil. But when people who are not monsters do this, it's the situation.
Oh god, I love this part.
Circumstances are to blame.
I'm sorry. I love Kat being like, it's very important for you to remember that the child murderers are not monsters. It's the circumstances that are to blame.
This is also just well within Aaron Sorkin's wheelhouse, which is a man explaining something to a woman who is naive.
I didn't.
Yeah, the circumstances of us occupying these people. That has created a situation where we kill children. So just remember that.
Think about that angle. That's well said.
Oh yeah,
everything.
I forget how it was. We have often described on the broadcast.
Brett, this was Brett. He said that in the first draft of every Aaron Sorkin script, the female characters are just named my ex-wife.
Yeah, and in this, I feel like my ex-wife is Palestine. Palestine is Aaron Sorkin's ex-wife, just constantly being explained to. Everyone is doing, especially in the second episode, where everyone keeps having to explain reality to the Palestinians as if they don't live it. But yeah, that scene is so fucking crazy to me, because it's like he's talking about something that is like clearly an evil thing. We can all agree, and I'm not interested in a debate about like who's pure evil and who's a real monster. But when you have that kind of scene, to me, the way in which he's having to describe to her, like, you have to remember, I know these guys. They're all really cool, other than that one thing. They're all like normal people, just like you and me. And I like, we're supposed to sit there and go like, damn, any one of us could shoot children. And I'm like, stop. What? One side is clearly the
bad guy
oppressor.
is the situation which we have had in no way created.
Yeah, exactly. Which we find ourselves stuck in.
Is just like the weather.
This memorialization and celebration of the empathy and patience of the soldier, of the Israeli soldier, is just echoes so much today. I mean, was it a year ago when CNN published a blockbuster report interviewing the Israeli soldier who could no longer eat meat anymore?
Yeah.
After having ridden a bulldozer over the live and dead bodies of Palestinians in Gaza, and from the guts that spewed out all over his bulldozer, he's lost the ability to eat meat.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Poor guy. I mean, it must be hard out there for, anyone who like used to enjoy a horror film to be like, damn, ever since that, I kind of sympathize with the slasher. You know what I mean? I feel like Freddy Krueger's just, honestly, he's just trying to secure himself and his people by going into your dreams and killing you. Yeah, it is. It's like, and to me, it's not that I am against the humanization of anyone. I don't have any blanket feelings about like, oh, you shouldn't humanize this, that, or the other. It's just the asymmetry.
It's a false dichotomy. He's constantly creating a false dichotomy that doesn't exist, and then congratulating himself for showing you
nuance,
the nice person in like within that situation, even though like the base of it is him and creating basically like this, all of the propaganda points where it's just the situation and these people, they hate each other, and what do? We need a technocratic solution. We need someone to come in here.
I think if anything, he exaggerates the sort of both sidesism on the U.S. side, that there's this position and we're just trying to bring them closer together. We're caught in the middle. We're doing our best to pull the Israelis and Palestinians together. Whereas the reality has been for the past 30 years is the United States has acted as Israel's lawyer. I mean, just look down the list of U.S. negotiators who have been involved in this process from '93 to the present. I mean, going back to the Clinton years, including the Camp David talks in July 2000. Who are the U.S. negotiators? Dennis Ross, former AIPAC official,
Mm-hmm.
Aaron David Miller, longtime associate of Dennis Ross, having lived in Israel for multiple years. By the way, both those guys are Jewish. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Martin Indyk, another longtime supporter of Israel, who worked at the Saban Center for Middle East Policy. By the way,
Wow.
Chaim Saban, #1 Democratic donor to the Democratic Party, whose only issue is, wait for it, Israel.
That's
Daniel Kurtzer, Israel Firster. I mean, it's just like you run down the list, and we have.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still in the 90s. I mean, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So it's just, they were acting as Israel's lawyer for the past 30 years, all the while pretending like these American negotiators are just doing their best to bring the sides together.
And I think that's the part that, like, as someone who does not have like an encyclopedic knowledge of every in and out of like this conflict, I think that's the thing that like rings the most false, is the idea that like the Americans are coming in there and it's like, well, we got to mediate between these sides because nobody else is doing it. And it's like, why would you frame it that way? Like, there are any number of other like conflicts around the world. Like, why is this one? Why are you framing it as this is the only one where like we have to go in there and be like the wise uncle? Like, that's not at all what's happening.
Yes,
like, we've been inserted in this and like taking one side since the very beginning. Like,
yes, I mean this is a U.S. colony as much as it is any other Western states colony, and so it's like we do this like feigned distance between where we stand. And it's not to say that presidents haven't had different positions and evolving positions. There was a time when the idea of calling the West Bank settlements illegal was normalized in Washington. It's only gotten worse. But the idea that somehow the U.S. represents this middleman, this middle power, kind of going, hey guys, we're just trying to get you two to like get along, when it's just been it's been a constant negotiation for more and more disenfranchisement of Palestinians, losing more and more land, formalizing their dispossession, as this episode says at one point. I love this one scene where they're all of the main characters of the West Wing are together in a room talking, like in just hasbara talking points, and they're acting like they're having a debate, but the agreed upon point of the debate is, well, yeah, we all know that Arabs all want to kill Jews. Like that is just, doesn't matter if you're what side you're on in this. And I also love that, by the way, in this scene, the women represent like the weak liberal angle and the men represent the strong masculine angle. So let me play this one for you. I just love it. Here we go.
What's going to be our response?
What do you think it should be?
Regime change.
Take out the chairman.
He is the impediment.
Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
That is the classic, like, phrase that people use in the West. That Palestinians are inherently bloodthirsty. They're never satisfied. They're too stupid to understand when they're being given a gift. Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. It's a cliche. It's a phrase that I fucking despise.
The guy in Tel Aviv's no picnic either.
State's convinced nothing can happen till these two guys are gone.
Israel's not the problem.
Settlements.
By the way, they're talking about the Palestinian Authority here, which by the time of this agreement, by the time this series was made, Yasser Arafat had already, under a great deal of coercion, I'm not sure really whether or not I blame him entirely. But certainly his successor, Mahmoud Abbas, has gone for a full comprador government. These people are working hand in hand with Israel in the United States. And this show is talking about regime change. This is, by the way, this is Joshua Malino, who is the guy who I mentioned before, who goes on, who is on Twitter with triple parentheses, calling himself Jew in triple parentheses, acting the liberal Zionist victim. Depends on what I mean by the West. What do I mean? What do you mean by that?
It's the wall.
Israel didn't just blow Americans up.
I'm not saying there's equivalence.
Israelis don't talk about driving the Palestinians into the sea.
Some do.
Oh, come on.
You've never heard the phrase Greater Israel?
Not from anyone serious.
One reason people...
Oh, I'm sorry. I just love that. I love this because it's like, this is so like the opposite of the newsroom. Like, man, you look like a fucking idiot, Sorkin. not from anyone serious. No one would ever seriously talk about. I love.
People say nothing can happen until these guys are gone, is the feeling they both may be stuck in old attitudes or assumptions. And there was a time when Palestinians and all Arabs wanted to drive Jews into the sea.
What?
Just stating that so casually,
That's
so obviously true, right?
She's the liberal in this position. Like, she's still like, well, there was a time, as we all know.
Can I just make a point of historical fact here?
Please.
Which is that a brilliant Israeli Jewish historian by the name of Shai Haskani, he's a professor of Jewish history at University of Maryland, published an article in Haaretz a couple of years ago in which he documents how he spent years and years and years looking for the origins of this, the Arabs want to push the Jews into the sea argument. Like, there must be some documentation in a newspaper, in a book, in a pamphlet. Where does this argument originate that the Arabs want to push the Jews into the sea? You're not going to believe it. Wait for it. Where does this idea first come into the historical record? In the Israeli archives, the Israeli government, in the Zionist Central Archives and the Israeli State Archives, have all these documents in which they're talking about how we need to convince the world that the Arabs want to drive the Jews into the sea. Wow. It was the Zionists that first invented that myth. Wow. And you can read about that in a Haaretz article published by Shai Haskani in 2021.
Wow, that is
apparently
crazy.
The poodle lady never read that one.
Who's the poodle lady?
The lady with the bangs that cover her eyebrow. She looks like the...
I mean, this is where over Bianca Nero generalization comes into play. I actually don't think that Europeans, for example, I don't think there's much difference between the European population. I mean, and it varies according to country. But broadly speaking, I don't think there's much difference between Americans and European, like the population, when it comes to understanding what's happening in Palestine. I think that there are very few countries in general, even in the West, where I would say there's a slight majority who get what's going on, at least in broad terms, if not in detail, even in most European countries. And then there are a few outliers who, like Spain and Ireland, who tend to be very much more pro-Palestine for one reason or another. But this misapprehension of Arabs as insane people who just want to kill, I think that is still a general attitude, which the West very much embraces. I think most people still see Arabs as that. Just a basically irrational people who are not afraid to die, who look for death, who think that dying in the name of religion, as it's perceived in the West, is a good thing and that you'll be rewarded in heaven. All the same tropes that are heavily promoted throughout the West, through Hollywood, through the news, through headlines, all sorts of things. And I don't know if you are from Poland, but I'm not confident about Polish people. I don't have any statistics about this, but I'm not... Poland's one of those countries that I'm not confident about when it comes to actually understanding issues of neocolonialism and Western dominance in the Middle Eastern region. We can look into that if you have links.
The Looney Tunes sleep dog.
You're talking about this lady.
Listen to some.
You're talking about this lady.
Yeah, her, yeah.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about her bangs for a second, what's happening?
I'm glad we have the two people with the worst hair in the show on the screen together, because both of them, Bradley Whitford's hair looks like some sort of peacock's tail with it's just fanned out really insanely, and then she's got a Looney Tunes sheepdog thing going on.
Love it. So I'm going to finish this scene because I know, Zach, you have to go, but just to finish this off.
By the way, I've got to ask, I'm curious, do Polish people consider themselves Western?
Here's the rest of it.
And all Arabs want to drive Jews into the sea. But some would argue that time's past.
Listen to some Arab broadcasts.
Rabble-rousing to distract their street.
I'm not sure any credible Arab leader truly expects Israel's demise anymore. I mean, not even the chairman.
Don't bet on it.
Oh, there's a view that...
Don't keep saying some argue and there's a view. Can we restrict it to your view?
Okay. Palestinians are no longer fighting to destroy the Jewish state. They're fighting for a state of their own. A revolutionary struggle against an occupying force. And revolutionaries will outlast and outdie occupiers every time.
I don't know if that's more simplistic or naive.
It's tribal. It can't be solved. It's Hatfield and McCoy, and there is no end.
Yeah, it's Hatfield and McCoy. It's a 1,000-year-old intractable conflict that's been going on, even though Jewish people have been measurably safer in the Muslim world for at least 1,000 years than they have been in Christendom.
I love it. It's a room full of people at the White House who are just going, oh, this situation's impossible. And you can only believe that if you truly believe
The barrier, I would probably Central European the most, but between East and West, more West for sure. Okay, that's fair. The barrier, I would say, is between using Latin alphabet instead of Cyrillic. Catholic versus Orthodox. Yeah, those are two strong language groups. And religion, even though religion might not be directly in play, it always forms like cultural identity, right? If I'm not mistaken. And it has kind of like historical grievances are born out of it, which people remember, even though it's not, like, as I understand it, they're not directly, it's not about points in the Bible that people are fighting over. It's rather historical grievances that are born of being historically Catholic and historically Orthodox. Kind of like the Irish, when you divide them into Protestants and Catholics. The IRA was not fighting over points of the Bible. What they were fighting over was dispossession and colonialism, and people who identified as Catholic historically were the ones who were dispossessed by Protestant transplants. If that's how I understand it. To be honest, religion is deeply in Polish culture since it became what people rallied against, Protestant Prussian and Russian Orthodox oppression. Yeah. That's kind of what I mean.
only reality is that Israel is fundamentally the most moral actor here, the one that needs to exist, the one that is only dealing with existential threats because they are Jewish. That is the only way you can believe that. Any like rational way of like looking at this is, you guys work at the White House, you guys work for the president, y'all can solve this. Why are we pretending you can't? You know what I'm saying? It's just great.
mean, I don't doubt the framing. I don't doubt that this was the framing through which they were arguing about this in 2004.
I mean,
like, I believe that, like, if that this was the way that they thought, in that was the framing that they accepted.
Right, the intractable nature of it for sure. But I mean, I do think it's a little disingenuous for them to
not a little.
it is a little disingenuous for them to all be standing around having this debate that is just, it is, yeah, like completely ignoring the fact that like the power dynamic here is not, I'm a middleman, America is a middleman between these two rival factions.
Also, the whole thing is like, how mean is the rhetoric coming out of each side? And it's like, I don't know that is the issue. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What mean words are they saying about each other?
Right, well, yeah. But because when Arabs say mean words, then it means that they have essentially, they've lost their right to human rights. Mm-hmm. When Israelis do, it's it's a different thing.
They just got a little hot-headed. They were just, they were in that bad situation again.
Exactly. Zach, I know you have to go. Final thoughts. How do you like that show?
Final thoughts. I think if I could just make one last point here before I depart.
Yes.
I thought it was a particularly revealing moment, which actually reflects historical reality, where they're talking about how Israel assassinates, or at least an attempt to assassinate a resistance leader, in which a dozen some people are killed, including
Yes,
a few
the very
children.
end of the episode. Yes,
and that actually happened in 2002. Israel assassinates Hamas. It was like 2002, 2003, 2004. Israel goes on this assassination spree and just kills every Hamas leader one after the other. First, it's like Ahmed Yassin, and then Abdelaziz Rantisi, just one after the other. They kill them all. And in one of those strikes, they assassinate a leader and kill a dozen some people. And George W. Bush, then U.S. president, issues a condemnation because 12 innocent people were killed in an Israeli strike. I mean, can you imagine? Just thinking back, I mean, it just kind of, it just sort of reminds you of how far we've come from 2002, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
A world where 12 people are killed every day during a ceasefire.
Yeah.
And do we get a condemnation today? No. So it just kind of gives you a perspective on just like how far we've come from that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because the ending of this episode is that scene where the old man who whatever his name is, Leo, is just like, Hamas just killed, or the Israelis just killed 4 children, 12 people in general to try to kill one Hamas leader, and we don't know if he killed that guy. And it's just this kind of dramatic ending to it.
Right.
And
Love you guys.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming on. Love you, dude.
Take care.
Come back soon.
Would love to. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I just want to play that scene for everyone to see.
Please.
Yeah, it is the ending of this episode. Check this out.
Thanks. Israeli gunships just fired missiles into an apartment house in Gaza City. They were targeting a Hamas leader. 12 killed, including 4 children. No word on whether the Hamas leader is among the dead.
All right, I'm ending the gift tube. In case anybody was hanging out for my incredible face. Underwhelming. I'm back. I finished dinner. In a lot of aspects, the Middle East today reminds me of Eastern Europe a century ago. Obviously, there's many differences, but France or UK in the early 1920s also struggled to understand what was happening. Poles versus Ukrainians, Ukrainians versus Russians, Poles. Yeah, completely understandable. I get that.
I love the sadness.
Yeah. Well, especially like you have to play it to where the credits play, and it's like that weird, like upbeat Law and Order
yeah, that's true.
Score of the shit. Like the theme song is like, dude, like Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
The president, happy. Yeah. But just ending on, that note of like intractable, the tragedy.
Serious
of it all.
People have to deal with serious problems, and serious problems require technocratic solutions. As I've said.
It's straight up like sad because it had to be done. That's the feeling.
Sometimes it's sad, hasbara.
So, I mean, the one thing that they haven't gone over here from the political point of view, that the whole reason Israel exists and is continuously funded and supported by countries like Germany, Great Britain, and the United States, obviously, is that holding on to the to a major source of the global supply of oil is a stranglehold that the United States, primarily supported by Europe and other miscellaneous states like Australia, another. Australia is basically where I live, is just a glorified sub-imperial power which acts as a signals intelligence interception base, military base, both naval and land-based. Singapore, which cooperates because it's afraid of Malaysia mostly. Taiwan, South Korea, which was invented out of whole cloth by the United States just prior to the Korean War. and Japan, who was basically reinvented after World War II. So these countries, that alliance exists to maintain the stranglehold of a major supply of energy, which is the Middle East. The Middle East, if Middle Eastern countries were ever to say, hey, actually, we're going to take control of our own resources here, and we're going to tell you how much we're going to sell you oil for, it would be disastrous for that balance of power as the United States perceives it. And oil is still a major source of energy for the world, regardless of how much, maybe in the media, that we're moving to renewables, that sort of thing. Actually, since China has basically a stranglehold on rare earth minerals at the moment, and the industrial output to create renewables-based energy equipment, there's some debate on whether or not the United States has gone back to curbing that uptake in renewables in favor of the old fossil fuel paradigm, which is arguably why they invaded Venezuela recently, because of the heavy oil that Venezuela puts out. Israel is necessary, in short, and in conclusion, Israel is necessary to fuck up the Middle East. It needs to create division, discord, disorganization, and death in order for third parties to maintain control over that region. It's very important to note that. It's very simple. Germany has shame for World War II pushing them to. Yeah. I mean, I have no doubt that there might be some genuine shame, but also I can't help but think that a lot of it is opportunism. Because and I have no evidence for this. Probably been no studies done for this, but my take, like my perception of the German psyche, is that, well, if we can't do it, if we can't do our project from the last century, then we should help somebody else do it, at the very least. We don't want any brown or black people taking hold of the global economy, so we will be a lieutenant to the United States. And maybe some people feel genuine shame over the Holocaust, but I do think that there is a certain, considering the number of outright Nazis who were released, pardoned, and then later on went into positions of power during the Cold War, I think there is an element of cynicism here who will use that as a cudgel to beat the populist guilt, while at the same time recognizing 100% that they are now playing second fiddle in a slightly more moderate way to the next white supremacist state, which is the United States. Israel tried to shame Poland for World War II, and Poland didn't support them in something. Probably the Warsaw Uprising, right, where there was a separate Jewish and Polish population. What was that guy's name? That Jewish Polish guy, Mordecai Anilovics, something like that, and his run-ins with the other major Polish resistance group. That's become something of a minor folktale.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it is.
Again, like this is the standard framing in the U.S. where it's like, well, we can do empire meanly, or we can do empire where we feel sad about it and express our thought. We can send thoughts and prayers after the bombs fall.
And that's
no one ever mentions like, hey, maybe we should stop giving them lots of fucking bombs.
Right? Yeah. Maybe we could not be allied with the apartheid genocidal state. Maybe
like it's intractable. It's like, okay, so why are we here then? Like if it's intractable and like they are mean to each other and it's the Hatfields and the McCoys, why are we taking a side or trying to mediate any of that?
Right, and it's disingenuous to say that it's that because it's intractable because you are the one propping up the state. That's why it's intractable. It's intractable because you're doing it and you're a little sad about it, and you know that
you're
you can't.
Good liberal, so you know to put on a bad face, sad face, and wear the kente cloth and all that.
Exactly. You gotta go through the motions of proving that you're a human being, and then also explaining in the most chauvinistic way possible to women that like human beings sometimes need to kill like this. And it's important that they do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's that like scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. Is like there is a general like imperialist mindset to liberals, which is that like this. It's sad to say that my way of life is superior and needs to be exported, and we need to destroy the Eastern way. Like that is their mindset. We're going to be talking more about the West Wing, but first we're going to take a quick break. Everyone follow Zach on Outside Nexus and on social media. Everyone stick around. We're going to be right back.
It's been a while since I last streamed, and my stamina is probably failing me. I might put this on doubles. 1.25 speed.
This is Bad Call Noah, an episode about the West Wing. It's the best.
That's not right.
Wing. Here with Vince Mancini. How you doing, Vince?
Good.
And here with producer Adam. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing great. Can't wait to live out with you guys.
Dude, I'm very
To be honest, the story is complicated, but ironically enough, I was never able to talk with an Israeli honestly about it, since they usually just insult and block me. That's the usual response. You're not alone in that. Welcome to any kind of honest discussion with an Israeli about things that happened in the past.
excited. Adam,
Here, Poles, like I'm half Malaysian, half Egyptian myself. Here, Polish people and Egyptians can shake hands about trying to talk to an Israeli about anything that happened from 1948 previous. Or even prior. Like, even post 1948.
All of the guests that we've had so far, Zach, Vince, you've actually seen The West Wing.
Oh, I've extremely seen The West Wing. There was a time in my life when I was a just bog standard lib, and I loved The West Wing, and I loved Bill Maher.
Hell yeah, dude! You were like, that is bog standard. Like,
dude,
emphasis
I
on
have
bog.
to admit, I almost said it. I was like, in 2004, I would have been like, oh yeah, this all seems right. Like, I would have not taken this with any
100%
any jaundiced view on this. I'd be like, oh yeah, it is like the Hatfield and the McCoys over there.
100%.
And I absolutely watched the full run of The West Wing minimum 50 times through. It was It was at one point my comfort watch, like just put it on in the background, to the point that I would be speaking
Yeah, as an early 20-year-old, or even like slightly before 20, I used to watch this all the time. Like, it was one of my favorite TV shows. As kind of like as somebody who has been like brought up in the Western world, who really was a liberal, like a leftist liberal, was the liberal sense. I swallowed all of these ideas about universalism, about the Enlightenment, about democracy, about how there's a better way to do things, and that actually the Western ideas, the Enlightenment ideals, win out. I believed all that stuff. I really did, as a young guy. And then, 9/11 happened. And I realized that, actually all of that stuff most of that stuff is just a self-perception. It's kind of an ego thing on the part of Westerners. They don't believe in any of that stuff. Actually, they hate people who are not from the West by default. And your acceptance into Western, like Anglo-Western society, is very much conditional. So I loved The West Wing. I thought that The West Wing was the peak TV show
the dialogue along with it.
We're
Very
getting here.
embarrassing.
Oh, I love this.
I mean, I definitely think like in
something
the
else.
George W. Bush era, it was this sort of act of self-soothing that we did to watch a show where everybody's like very articulate and like good.
And
at
a
their
show
jobs.
that reinforces your view that you're very, very smart.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're a
and the
smart special
meritocracy
boy.
works, and the problem with it is that like it's been hijacked by these, the C students.
Right, exactly. And it's actually really funny too, because there was no even then at maybe the perfect time to have some
View that you're very, very smart.
Yeah,
yes,
you're
and the
a smart special
meritocracy
boy.
works, and the problem with it is that like it's been hijacked by these.
I mean, they claim Poland and Turkey were hell for Jews historically when they were two of the countries with the most Jews. Yes. I mean, I don't know about Poland. I haven't really studied I haven't read much about how they were treated in Poland, but I do know that the Ottoman Empire were very accepting of Jews. I mean, it's not that they were accepting of Jews, they were accepting of people who just weren't Muslim. I mean, they were just like, sure, you can live here, you can have your own religion, you can have your own culture. You will have a tax, which is actually less than what Muslims pay. But you'll be taxed under a category which is not Muslim, so you pay 1.5%, whereas Muslims pay about 2.5%. That's your non-Muslim tax. They call that dhimmi these days, as if it was something bad. But yeah. I mean, and it's not just the Ottoman Empire. I mean, one of the second most powerful man in all of the Mediterranean area, including Europe, was a Jewish fellow. He was the vizier of, can't remember if it was Cordoba or all of Al-Andalus, but he was the vizier. And he was a very powerful guy, which never would have happened in Europe. They weren't allowed to hold those positions in Europe. At one point, 10% of Poland was Jewish, basically. That's a lot. They got wiped out during World War II or removed afterwards during Soviet occupation. Yeah. By the way, we're not to belabor this point, but most of those people ended up going to the Middle East and seeking refuge in territories held by the Ottoman Empire, or the former Ottoman Empire. Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Lebanon, Syria.
The C students.
Right.
Not so much Syria and Lebanon, but Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, and Palestine, or the British mandate at the time.
Exactly. And it's actually really funny too, because there was no even then at maybe the perfect time to have some.
Also, a lot of them went to America and Britain, of course, but that was cut off.
Sort of class analysis around that. Liberals still couldn't fully be like, the problem is that we live in an oligarchy where the fucking former creator of the CIA's son is the president because they share the same name. There was no anti-imperialist analysis for libs. It was just like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, it was more like a nepo baby thing.
They should get a smart nepo baby.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I think the response was, the system is not elitist enough because we don't reward Rhodes scholars and smart guys anymore. It's just these failed children.
We need someone to talk down to us in an erudite way.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
I mean, a lot of them went to. 3 years after the war ended, a lot of them went to Israel because they weren't allowed to go to the United States or Britain. And organizations such as Haganah, the Stern Gang, and Irgun wouldn't let them leave. Especially Israel. Oh, Truckee, what up? Nice to see you.
I think that is classic. You've hit the nail on the head with the liberal mindset.
I mean, and then Sorkin is like the peak elitist. Like he cannot go more than 10 minutes of screen time in anything without bringing up like Shakespeare or like a Shakespeare reference, I think.
Or Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yeah, like I think.
Can I just point out that aside from the things that you'll notice when you watch The West Wing is that he not only likes to bring up Gilbert and Sullivan and Shakespeare, he likes to bring up Sartre for some reason, who doesn't, I wouldn't think agrees with him politically on much. he likes to bring up there was a British comic writer who wrote comedic plays. I'm trying to remember his name. I went to see one of his plays once. I bothered to. I'm just looking up British playwrights now. Noel Coward, that's the one. He likes Noel Coward for some reason. I don't know what Noel Coward's particular political views might have been, but I also don't imagine that he would agree with Aaron Sorkin much. He likes to bring up, every time a character is introduced in The West Wing, they always have to bring up their entire resume, where they went to school, for their undergraduate degree, where they went for their postgraduate degree, for whom they interned. You know, he likes lawyers. He likes people who've done JDs, Juris Doctors. He likes people who've done that, and inevitably who they interned for. And 3 out of what I'm gonna say, 7 out of 10 times, the graduate in question is gonna be from Yale or Harvard. He loves talking about Yale and Harvard, and then the other 3 out of 10 times they're gonna be from a non-Ivy League but a very prestigious university like Stanford or University of California, Berkeley, some of the big ones. There's one character who went to University of Wisconsin, and she's like a ditzy blonde. So, a woman, which, you know, kind of that fits into the general trope of what the kind of general stereotype of what Aaron Sorkin is. So, Harvard, Yale, not Ivy League Ivies. He loves talking about that.
I think the title of this episode is like a Macbeth reference.
The Burnham Wood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it's
just
so
like
annoying.
it's very. It's
Going from
elite
victim
and
to oppressor
smarmy and
historically
also,
is
like,
a pretty quick
incredibly
process.
Because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a smart guy. How do I just?
And I mean, I say this to people every now and then, that I do think that Zionism is kind of a mental illness. What it is a victim whose inevitable acting out has been untreated and uncontrolled. They've been allowed to do what they want, like a child who's been abused, and then allowed to behave however they want, and protected, actually, for what they do, seeing it as completely justified. I do believe that Zionism is essentially a mental illness. It's a mass mental illness that's generational.
Demonstrate my smartness. Oh, it's because I like Shakespeare. You know,
Yeah.
it's like when someone's like, "Oh, you're into film? What about this Kurosawa and Fellini film?" Like, it's just like the first Google search results for things that a smart guy thinks. You know.
Yes, yeah, and you know, in terms of the way he writes, I mean, I think like ideology aside, he's a great screenwriter. He knows how to write a screenplay. He knows how to write a teleplay. It's he
knows pacing. That's for sure.
He knows pacing. He can make things compelling to watch, and so you know,
he knows pacing, and but like his incredible level of smarm, like,
yes,
does not ever fail to come through. Like, you can tell watching this that this guy would be a terrible hang.
Yeah, 100%. This guy does not hang. This guy lectures. This guy is like he's only spending enough time with you to tell you you're a fucking idiot, and then he walks away to, you know, whatever he does, sleep with the
I mean,
team.
I think that's like a. I mean, I feel like this is the thing that separates like acclaimed middlebrow art from like actually great art, is that great art, like the storyteller comes in with like a question of some kind that they want answered, and then like this sort of middlebrow smarm that always is like the thing that wins awards. It's like someone that has a really formed take, and they're going to tell you about it. And like, there's no
the kind of dialogue that Aaron Sorkin writes. Like, I have to say that I'm thinking back to my much younger self, who was like, as a left liberal, I was very like smug. I thought I knew all the facts. I thought I understood free trade, all that stuff. Studying at university does a lot of this, by the way. It encourages that. And when you read mainstream outlets, like for Australia, it's the ABC. In the United States, if you listen to PBS, if you're a PBS guy or PBS gal, you'll be listening to that thinking, yes, good point. I'm very clever. Like, his little bits of dialogue that he writes very much appeals to that mentality, which is like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. You're a smart person. Not like these idiots who complain about having their jobs outsourced to other countries. Those people are rubes. They're rednecks. They're poor people. They're stupid. It encourages this very toxic. It's become, when you look at American politics, this has been mainstreamed amongst Democratic voters, where they see themselves as smarter than thou, holier than thou, cleverer than thou, but they live in a bubble and are completely out of touch with how ordinary workers live their lives.
Like there's no questioning that they're doing. It's like they already know the answer and they just gotta tell it to you.
Yeah, there's no interpretation. There's no analysis that you can do.
Yeah.
Well, if your job has been outsourced, maybe you should retrain.
The other thing we should bring up is this is season 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is post Sorkin exit. So this is John Wells from ER running the show. So it has become like a politics procedural type show.
Yes. And you can really feel that in this episode. The second episode is a much more just wish casting a politics that works. As
it is the sort of watered down carbon copy of the Sorkin dialogue.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like the whole storyline, the whole like heart attack sequence where I was just like, oh my god, I fucking could not care less about this. I mean, granted, like I haven't been watching the show up until this point. I'm just dropping
understand. Leo is the president's rock.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I don't care. This smacks of like late season sweeps week, ratings boosting right here.
We got to kill this guy in Gaza. Something's gonna happen.
I'm like, we're like seconds away from them bringing Ted McGinley in here for some reason.
So Adam,
Ted McGinley plays a political Sean Hannity type guy.
There you go.
In early seasons.
Wow.
Yeah, whenever a show's ratings are like flagging and it's been on for too long, they're like, all right,
Get Ted C on the blower.
There's someone like pointing to his arm while Ted McGinley's warming up in the bullpen.
Just so I'm clear, Ted McGinley is the guy from Married with Children?
Yeah, he's Mr. Scream from Wayne's World.
Right, he's the one who's he's Al Bundy's neighbor.
Bundy's neighbor. He's the lead of the Alpha Betas.
How did you call Ted McGinley being in this? That's crazy.
Because he's literally notorious for being the actor that every show calls when it's like later seasons and they need like a guest star who like has some juice.
Wow. Well,
I didn't know that. I just imagined like
you said juice, by the way, not juice.
Of demise. Like by the time you get to McGinley, you're like on the chopping block.
Yeah, it's an expression of desperation.
Wow, that is crazy. So Adam, you're saying that this end of season 5, that's the last Sorkin.
No,
right?
End of season 4 is the last Sorkin. Season 5, John Wells starts running the show.
Oh, okay. So
I guess we owe Aaron Sorkin an apology.
5 is the incredibly wobbly season. 6 is where it starts to get its footing back.
Interesting. Wait, so you're saying that I've been making fun of Aaron Sorkin for no reason this whole time?
Well,
no,
it's his blueprint. I mean,
first of all, there are bits that I'm going to add on to this, which were a few seasons before, which Aaron Sorkin very much did right and very much displayed his complete racism and disdain and contempt for Middle Eastern people. But we'll continue to the end, or near the end at least.
It is. Sure. It is his style of dialogue.
But is it his...
Actually, if anything, the John Wells seasons of The West Wing were more favorable to really much everybody. They were much more charitable, which kind of blows your mind when you consider those whole scenes that we've just gone through, where they said that, just Arabs love to kill people. That's what they do.
His perspective. That's the interesting thing, is wondering whether or not it's his perspective on Israel-Palestine, or if it's... whoever's it is, it doesn't specifically matter that it's Sorkin, but it does put a little dent into this. Speaking of art, here's a little bit of art for everyone that I did. We're doing my version of a Bada B story, a Balmer B story, a Draper D story. Here's a Western Wing story.
This is Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin is a TV writer, Zionist who hates the Palestinians.
You guys know Sugar Ray?
No, he thinks that he's a real good guy, but he is one. Now let's talk about the West Wing. First, there's season 5.
All right, so we don't have to do the rest of it. But if you like Sugar Ray, you'll love the rest of that shitty song.
I did wonder if it was like when I was watching, I was like, this isn't quite as like Zionist and bloodthirsty as I would have expected from Aaron Sorkin, and I wonder maybe like if that accounts for that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I will say that like the move to like essentially publicly break up with an agent who expressed the idea that like people are being genocidal like that, to me, I was just like, yeah, this all makes sense. And maybe it is part of it is also that I view him as essentially another David Mamet, where they both have this like, everyone's a fucking idiot but me. And so
absolutely, and this is very much of a piece with the political ideology of the show.
Yeah,
this was the sort of Michael Moore like we're the good guys, and sort of the height of the Democrat rules lawyering and morality policing of like, I think when the final calculations are done, you'll see that we actually followed the rules better than anyone else. So everything should go our way because we're such good little hall monitors.
Yes. So let's talk about the Burnham Wood. It opens with President Martin Sheen.
Sorry, I have a question. Do we know where this is supposed to be set? Because I thought that they said Aspen at one point, but then
Camp David.
So it is at Camp David. I know he's wearing the Camp David jacket.
I assume Aspen is the name of one of their conference rooms at Camp David.
Oh, okay.
that is the case. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I was going to say this does not look like Colorado, but yeah.
So President Martin Sheen is telling both parties, Israel and Palestine, that there can be no peace without strong, secure Israel and a sovereign, viable state for the Palestinians. That's right, baby. We out here two-state solutioning it.
Also a thing America never actually really advocated for, and was only ever for like a canton for the Palestinians. It's sort of again wish casting America as the one true kind of moral and logical fair dealer.
Which is, I mean, you can actually tell from the line, there can be no peace without a strong, secure Israel. So what do we got? Strong and secure, or
right to exist,
or a sovereign, viable state for the Palestinians. Viable
just
is
barely able to exist.
Viable is such a strange word to use because it's just like sovereign. Sovereign is like, okay, yeah, sovereign. Viable immediately undercuts sovereign. Like the
nearly
idea that
dead but still able to continue.
Yeah, it's kind of there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it counts.
They can call it their state,
sovereign, at least to a minimal degree. Yeah, just viable enough to count as sovereignty, but it has to be a strong, secure Israel. So already, you know, just in the language there, two-state solution looks a lot like our current situation.
Yeah.
So then General Locke from Lost tells the press that they bombed Syria. The people who bombed Gaza the last episode, I guess, were in Syria. I don't know. I didn't see the episodes, the intervening ones. Cool. Good. Nothing more comes of that. Was that Hamas? You tell me, Adam. When the people they bombed in Syria, who did the bombing in Gaza? We never find out. Do we find out?
No, I think my memory...
The answer to this is that they're just Palestinians. Just Palestinians. They're people from the West Bank. May not be affiliated to the PA, but they're just Palestinians because Arabs love killing people.
Is that no, here's what happens. Spoiler for a 25-year-old TV show. In the aftermath of this conference, Prime Minister Ben Yosef, I think the Israeli Prime Minister, his plane is blown up by the PA.
What?
And that scuttles the peace process. If I'm thinking of the correct Israel-Palestine section of the show.
Also, did we ever figure out why they were targeting an American SUV? And
yeah, no, no. I'm asking, like, so that seems like that's a new terrorism that I didn't even know about. What about the old terrorism? Who bombed Donna?
I think the bombing of Donna is the PA. Makes a deal to hand over the people who did it, and there's some like rules lawyering over to whom they will hand the people over, and the head of the PA is like walled off in his compound under Israeli bombardment. I'm sort of going off hazy memory here,
But it was the PA. That's basically what I'm asking. So it was the PA who did the Donna bombing, or the
It
PA
was.
knew
I think it
who
was.
did it?
I think it was supposed to be like a fringe of the PA that they said like, hey, we're sort of in league with these guys, but we'll hand them over to you.
It was a rogue element of them, which is why they can't be trusted to have control over the
You can't.
area.
Yeah. You can't. You guys can't even control your own terrorists. Turns out we're gonna have to keep doing what we're doing. Okay, so we're at Burnhamwood Camp. The team is figuring out the Middle East. They're so smart. The questions on the table: who gets Jerusalem? The right of return. Tangible action against Hamas by the chairman of the PA Parad. And the president says they want to punch Jerusalem. So this whole episode is them not talking about who's going to take control of Jerusalem, but as Zach mentioned, that was the easiest part of all the other peace processes. So weird choice. We have CJ does a press conference, whatever. So we're back at the camp. There is I just want to show the scene of the way in which the U.S. is kind of represented by this TV show as being the like hopeful middleman, and just because I love this perspective because it is so dated and so clearly wrong. Here it is.
Why are any of us here?
Well, once, Mr. Fart, you're right. My apologies, Mr. President. There's no progress to be made here. I should have never accepted your invitation.
I just want to point out, why is he have? That's a German accent.
Yeah, that actor is German. By the way, he makes periods in a previous episode of The West Wing, which is hilarious. Which I'm probably going to show you if it works.
Isn't he just German?
I was wondering what they were.
That's just German.
Yeah, okay.
What are we doing? But here's President Martin Sheen telling them, guys, relax.
Back down. No, we will not negotiate sovereignty over the temple.
Dome of the Rock stands on the side where the Prophet Muhammad
Stop it, both of you. Gentlemen.
Yeah, we have the very nice grandpa-looking guy and the Palestinian dude who immediately starts spouting stuff about the Prophet Muhammad. It's not.
And I have staked my personal credibility and the credibility of the United States on suggesting, perhaps foolishly, that the Israelis and the Palestinians are reasonable people who would like to at least try to resolve their differences peacefully. No one is going home after 1 hour of talks.
It's just like, guys, fellas, please, be reasonable, like me and you.
And also, would you look at these two screwball maroons?
Yeah. Well, he's doing the thing that they keep doing, which is like pretending that we couldn't use the insane amount of leverage that we have to stop any of this. All we would have to say is like, okay, we're gonna not give you like bombs anymore, and it'd be like a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
I also, sorry, just one other thing that I love about the Sorkin verse is the way that everybody is just like a gruff son of a bitch that likes dirty fucking jokes, but they got a good heart, and like the way that this
or a
plays
dumb
out,
female assistant who needs to have everything explained.
I think Allison Janney gets like to be treated like a man because at every press conference it's like 100 screaming journalists and her being like, all right, settle down, dipshits, here's what's gonna happen, believe it or not, they ate some steak at the party, and you guys, you dickheads are just gonna have to live with that. All right, see you fucks later, you know. Like it's so, I don't know, like the idea that the White House press room is like this group of clamoring journalists who are all screaming over each other, and the what do they call the press secretary? The person who like calms them down with like a dirty joke. It's like, I mean, obvious wish casting, but it's
100%. So yeah, I mean, just in general, the way that the position of the show is, you know, what you were speaking earlier about, like we could just stop funding them. We could stop selling them weapons. We could do all.
We could just not be involved. They could they could have like a normal discussion between two sides who we weren't just dumping tons of resources into one side.
Right, and it like comes through in the show like how much it has accepted, and you know, it's hard to say whether or not it's earnest, like an earnest misunderstanding, because they're not actually in the West Wing. These guys are TV writers. They're liberals. But you know, it could be that they don't know, but I just love writing characters and writing a narrative that essentially takes the viewer and goes like, you and I are the smartest people on earth. Yeah, like that's why people I think like the show. It's
it is the most audience privileged show out there.
you are watching it and it's telling you like, look at these fucking idiots out there.
And
they're
I mean,
stupid, not like you and me who could solve the Middle East.
And it's such a balm because like they're doing this at a time when like the U.S. government is in the middle of just like indiscriminately bombing like half of the Middle East, and it's sort of being like, yeah, but what if we were good and smart?
Yeah, what if we did it and cried a little bit sometimes?
Yeah.
And also, you know, the way in which this entire episode goes as like a negotiation between these two parties is so enraging because it keeps framing the Palestinians and the Palestinian position as this immovable, irrational, and it's like it frames both sides as this immovable, irrational, like stubborn, like wanting to hold on to either, you know, what they had or what they currently have. And
there was something of an orthodoxy in the U.S. at the time, and I remember specifically Bill Maher constantly saying that, you know, the Arabs, they're a backward people, and they just don't understand how the world works because they only believe the Quran, and they're living a 1300s lifestyle, and that was sort of the feeling like these are savages.
I mean, he got
and that's why I say it's always 1946 in Palestine in American media, because it's always got to be this sort of like dusty Casablanca-ish, like pastime.
Yes,
yeah, well, I mean, the fact that the leads of the last show were like the romantic photojournalist. I mean, it's Hemingway Gellhorn all over again, where it's, you know, it's a romantic photojournalist in like a cruel backwater, and they find love. But like, I mean, the funny thing about Mar is that like he said all that about the Arab world, and then he got fired because he was like, and yet you still have to hand it to him. You can say what you want about how backward they are, but
you got to hand it to him about 9/11.
Yeah, you do have to hand it to the 9/11 hijackers.
It is really funny that like
I
his
do-
origin story.
I actually remember that particular bit from Bill Maher when he said that they're not cowards. Like, whatever you'll say about them. To hijack planes and fly them into the World Trade Center during death, they're not cowards. Like, he seemed very adamant on that particular point. And I was, you know, I remember watching it at the time and thinking, okay, sure. But, but what point are you trying to make here? Like, in isolation, what are you trying to say? There seemed to be no other point aside from him saying they're actually brave. Like, I just want to make that one neurodivergent point that they weren't cowards. That's all I want to say. But other than that, fuck them.
It includes saying one cool thing and getting in trouble for it, and then spending the rest of his career saying the worst shit and getting rewarded for it. Anyways, so
the real victim, I think, was Phil Donahue, because I think he lost his show at the same time for
and Phil Donahue was based and remains based, I believe, but I don't know. In terms of like the Palestinians or Palestine always remaining 1946 forever in American media, it's so funny the like continued even the the liberal position on the show, because like this show is essentially a series of like fantasy shower arguments between two sides of your own personality, and you can tell that by the kind of like things that are like arbitrary that they take for granted that serve as a baseline of their ideology. And one of those things is we all know that Arabs are stone throwing backwards people. So there's a scene between reasonable Jew and annoying Jew, and that what is it like?
Yeah,
Toby Josh and Toby.
Josh and Toby
is
you throw
I think, like,
you throw stones.
senior communications
You're
director,
backwards. You
and Josh
fire
is,
missiles.
Deputy
also
chief
backwards.
of staff.
Yeah. So whatever. I tuned out while you were explaining your job. But like, there's a scene between the two of them in which they are they're arguing. They're both being like the two different perspectives that American Jews have, and it drives me fucking crazy.
Oh, is this the my dad forgot to get his wallet when they let him out of Birkenau line?
Oh yeah. Wait, is it? It's the one where they are arguing over who's more Jewish.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's that scene.
You're not starting to buy what he's selling too. He's a terrorist.
With some legitimate grievances.
Please. 1938. Millions of men, women, and children running for their lives from gas chambers tried to seek refuge in any country that would take them. Nobody would, including America.
So they settle in the middle of a region that still believes in public stonings and harems? Palestinians are the Jews of the Arab world.
Here's the thing that you have to understand. People in the Middle East did take them in. Palestinians took them in. Egyptians took them in.
So funny to have those two lines back to back. Like, so they settle in the middle of it's just like, it's like just going straight racist. And
also,
then just
every line of male dialogue in this series.
I'd also like to emphasize to those of you who don't already know that the whole idea, pogroms, is an Eastern European word. It comes from... A pogrom is a... not state-sanctioned, but state tolerated, and in some cases state endorsed spontaneous action on the part of a population to burn down, vandalize, terrorize, essentially, the Jewish population to get them out of a certain area. That is an Eastern European phenomenon. It happened mostly in Russia, happened in some places in, some isolated incidents in Lithuania, in Poland, in Hungary, these kinds of countries. Mostly it comes out of Russia. During the imperial era, I might point out, to the Russian Empire. That's when this stuff happened. That is a European phenomenon. In France, there were 2, as far as I recall, the Middle Ages, 2 expulsions, wholesale, of Jewish people from France. And other than that, they were systematically locked out of certain positions. That's why they became money handlers, because they weren't really allowed to run businesses. They weren't really allowed to become farmers. The normal people stuff. So they had to resort to abstractions, economic abstractions. In Britain, there was at least 1 expulsion, I believe. And certainly in Britain, they were excluded in the same ways they were in France. In Germany, up until World War I, even if you served in the military, you were not able to hold a rank, if you were Jewish, higher than major. Right? This kind of shit did not exist in the Middle East. You were allowed to do what you wanted. You could be a farmer, be a stallholder, to have a business. You were just a normal guy. You were just a normal person who was able to do normal people things. You were accepted in society. There's an ad break right now. But I'm going to play it anyway, because probably not many people are watching.
Is a
I
guy
don't know how many
wiping
people are
coke off
watching.
his nose, grinding his teeth, explaining his point of view to a sex worker.
That's exactly 100% true. And it's funny because
And another thing about my ex-wife.
yeah. But just like I also love the line, saying that Palestinians are the Jews of the Middle East. He's explaining, they're getting in an argument about the fact that like the surrounding neighbor Arab states wouldn't take in the Palestinians after 48 when they were ethnically cleansed to be, citizens.
To emphasize what I was saying previously, anti-Semitism is a word that was invented entirely in response to European anti-Jewish hatred. Anti-Semitism is a European thing.
Of Jordan or Egypt or Lebanon or Syria, and
there is no
making
ancient
about, like-
war between many people and Jewish people. That does not exist, and it did not exist prior to 1948. Now there might be some animosity and mutual suspicion, but prior to that, entirely European. They offloaded their issue onto a completely different set of people.
Arabs are the Jews of the Palestinians are the Jews of the Middle East. It's a funny thing to have like just that much perspective on it without ever being able to zoom out and be like, oh, also Arabs and Palestinians.
I have to get up and take a
are
walk
the
because
Jews
my
of the
ass is
West.
going numb.
Like you can't apply the same logic, but take away the whole refugee status thing. The fact that you are immediately dehumanizing them, immediately racist to them, the fact that you have tons of fucking space for people who do like rampant wanton murder of them, but no tolerance for the fact that they might fight against their oppressor. Like, I'm sorry, but like, how do you have just enough perspective to still blame the Middle East as the racist? Admit, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're saying the Jews of the Middle East as if Arabs in general are not treated exactly the way that the Western world has treated Jews, for centuries. Like,
Yeah,
fuck off.
Palestinians are really the Palestinians of Palestine.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's a better way of putting it. Here's the rest of this conversation.
Even with the bombs, Israel is the one place it's okay to be Jewish. I'm here. German Jews in the 20s were mighty comfortable.
Love this.
This isn't Germany. This is America.
Yeah, home of the KKK.
Where you and I work in the White House to make sure the Justice Department rips their Jew-hating hoods off.
I just absolutely love this. Like, it's like the attitude of the post October 7th sobered up Jewish leftist, like Israeli leftist, where it's just like, before these attacks, I thought that we were safe, but now.
Also, the biggest lie is
I think we got it worse than
middle-aged
blacks.
Jews throwing tight spirals.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, being good at throwing football is a big lie. But there's just something about the way that a lot of Jewish Americans do appropriation of like anti-blackness, of like any type of bigotry that exists, where they're just like, hey, you know, at any moment they could kill us all, right? And you're only ever telling that to a black college student who's
yeah, and also the stealing valor of, like, you know who the real heroes of the black civil rights movement were?
Right. Yeah,
I'm
me.
Israel Chai.
yeah, exactly. So like this whole episode is dog shit. But it has you know, these moments that are just, I don't know, they're like wonderful to a point where I almost am like, do I like the show on an ironic level or an unironic level? My favorite is, you know, the show loves walk and talks. Aaron Sorkin invented this like type of format.
And talk and throws, clearly.
Talk and
Talk and shoot, talk and throw. Anything where someone can be playing a sport or
they have to
around.
constantly be working, but in a very specific set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
did you see, by the way, I'm sorry for the digression, but did you see the Barry Weiss attempt at a walk and talk?
Oh
the
God!
other day,
Why did she need her hands
doing
in
the
frame?
thing, and she's just like moving her hands like this, and she's like, "We've got Charlie Kirk's widow, who's never been on TV before, never done any press. This is the first time."
Yeah,
it's
first
like
time.
They're trying to make it like Aaron Sorkin, where she like can't do the walk and talk, and she doesn't know what to do with her hands the whole time.
Because she's a fucking alien, dude. Like she's
a weird little meatball nerd.
Yeah. And so like, so there's walk and talks throughout the show. Like, it's something Aaron Sorkin is famous for. They tried to do the same thing with a game of half-court basketball in this episode, where they're playing basketball and solving the Middle East at the same time, and it is one of the most insane choices. I had to like add NBA on NBC music for it. Here we go.
The Israelis will return the territories, but they want a military presence. Palestinians don't get how it's going to be their house if it becomes furnished with Israeli tanks. Hey, you mentioned Germany. What about settlements?
Israelis are hinting they'll abandon everything in Gaza.
I would love to see the real footage of all of these shots hanging off the rim.
Martin Sheen doing a completely undefended skyhook, like in the middle of the half court.
Literally no one's trying to block the president.
Get that shit out of here.
Oh, this is so great.
You have to imagine there's no actual hoop while they're shooting, and they're just PAs catching all of these balls.
It's a line of them. They keep going wild.
Land in exchange. Don't promise it. Dismantling terror. The Israelis want Faraj to renounce terrorism, but in Arabic, on Al Jazeera. And they want more than just a promise to disarm Hamas. They want it to happen before they leave. Right of return?
Farad wants the right of return to apply to all Palestinians. The Israelis are understandably concerned about 3 million Palestinians moving back in.
Oh, look at the bright side. Nobody shot anybody else the first day.
Sitting on the
Yes! They got, I love this shot so much. They got no shot of him shooting it, but just of him taking credit for the shot. Yeah.
We start small, but one small move is all we need to get things rolling.
That's why he's the fucking president. I love just the brain of the people who make this show, because it like, what would be the coolest shit a president could do ever? There's like, I don't know, play a game of pickup ball while solving the Palestinian.
Sandra Noah too. Thank you for the follow.
He's switching 3-pointers. He's figuring it out.
Jumper on President Bartlett.
Just covered in fucking a sheen. That is why they call him Martin. Yeah. So throughout the episode, there's this, you know, totally wish-casted fantasy give and take between the Palestinians and the Israelis. There's one point which is like, this is another point of like seeing where exactly the ideology of the show is. The the chairman of the PA, Farad, who's played by a Palestinian 48er who is a Christian. He is talking with like some minister or whatever from Israel, and they're having this conversation, trying to like negotiate back and forth. And at one point, he makes a really like a good point, and they use it as like a dramatic, like almost like a negative dramatic commercial break point. Here, let me just show this to you.
We were being terrorized by Zionist troops who were threatening to touch every Arab village in the Galilee.
If we had accepted the partition plan in 47, not a single Palestinian would have become a refugee. I might interrupt.
Palestinians were being massacred.
Okay, so that's Ambassador Golit, the Israeli ambassador to the U.S., the severe woman with the dark bob.
Yes, yeah.
They weren't just threatening to torch every Arab village in 47 and 48. They actually did, and murdered a whole bunch, as well as subjected them to various other extrajudicial punishments, let's call it, which included SA on very young people.
Yes, okay.
Historians admit
It was war. Only 3 years after the Holocaust. If we had lost, there would have been another wholesale slaughter of Jews.
There is room for 1 million Russian Jews in Israel.
That's an
Why isn't there
assumption.
room for Palestinians who simply wish to go home.
dark dramatic music plays, and they use this totally good and reasonable point.
The same assumption that exists today, that if Israel ever became a fully, everybody became fully emancipated, that somehow there would be another Holocaust, which has been continuously, I mean, the Palestinian population has been continuously careful about this.
That Farad makes to do a commercial break and to make you think, oh, fuck, that's a good point, though. That sucks.
Dang, it really is complicated.
Dang, that sucks. like the show is low-key mad. The show is low-key mad that he made a good point.
Oh, dog.
I'm going to have to watch some ads to fucking just
Sometimes
mull
it do
that.
be like that.
Sometimes it do be like that.
That's fucked up.
And this is what I love about liberal Zionism is that it's like so much of it is like being like, you know what, fine, I acknowledge that this isn't fair, and then acting like it is a totally moral and okay position to continue being unfair. But
we did kind of get here and take over, so that's
right,
kind of how it is.
Right, it's kind of how it is. But it's like, but I will acknowledge all of these things. The problem is that these things are now like what it is, dog.
The problem is finders keepers. So
but losers, weepers. So you're supposed to weep, but I'm sorry, I'll weep too. How about that? And yeah, you know, there's scenes where between Farad and that lady with the bob, where she basically admits that ethnic cleansing is okay, and it's kind of like the same thing, where it's just like,
oh, Kiko, hello. Welcome in, Raiders. I don't care about introducing myself. I'm a grumpy Middle Eastern Australian guy, and I do variety streaming. We're talking about the West Wing on Bad Hasbara now. It's a TV show from the 90s. I'm tired. Don't follow me.
like she says that without you know, the ethnic cleansing, for lack of a better word, of the removal of the Arabs, then there would have been no room for the Jewish state. And he takes that moment to be like, so it's okay that we were ethnically cleansed to make, you know, room for the creation of Israel. And you know, they use it as like sort of a you know, a reason for him to stomp away and leave in anger. And I don't know, there's just the way that it's written, the way that it happens. It's
Sorry,
just
that
like,
was the right message.
once again,
Okay.
the show continues to show
Whatever you feel you need to do.
what I think is a real
My two viewers do follow Kakekukeko. In fact, I think I have a command for this. Yeah, follow him. He's a much better streamer than me. Certainly more entertaining. I'm much more humorless when I'm by myself. Talk about serious issues, and I don't like you.
reasonable perspective of like the constant dispossession of these people, but it just can't move itself.
But we
past
can't do
the
anything
point.
about it.
It can't do anything about it. It can't move past the point where this is like, yeah, I'm sorry.
You make
but
a very
yes.
good point. Sometimes I think about this point when I'm sitting in my barracks.
Yeah, it's just honestly, it is just adding unfortunate to like a genocidal statement.
I have
It's
9
like,
views.
It is unfortunate that.
Why are you in here? Go away.
That the Palestinians were ethnically cleansed in 48, but it needed to happen to establish a Jewish state, which unfortunately is necessary due to the Holocaust, centuries of anti-Semitism, and compensation for crimes against Jews. Sorry, that's it. I'm sorry. And yeah, the whole show presents Palestinians as sore losers essentially throughout the entire thing. Yeah, and at one point, you know, they're saying that all the boys don't want to be doctors anymore; they just want to be martyrs. That's
Everybody
all
wants to be martyrs. All the kids want to be martyrs. Man.
Yeah,
that's why you got to find.
Hang on, wait a
reasonable
second.
Ones.
Gumby? Gumby is in here? Hello. Hello, madam. Everybody also follow Gumby. Beautiful streamer. I love her.
You gotta split them off from the unreasonable ones, have them shoot some skeet, and everything will be technocratic in the end.
The skeet shooting in this episode is so funny because it is just doing the Sabra Man versus Diaspora Boy thing. I gotta play that scene. It's just like,
Doth
you know,
my
what
eyes
happens when
deceive me?
A weak liberal Jew meets a strong.
I was watching that, being like, ugh, don't have him fall down with a gun. Don't
I
have
know.
him.
Don't do a full-on Looney Tunes Wile E. Coyote take where he arcs backward.
Yeah. Oh no, my duck bill is now on the back of my neck. All right, here's that.
How long were you in the army?
I still have
my ears.
every Israeli citizen is in
Oh, it hurts. I don't like it.
the reserves.
This bit is funny.
You sure you know how to do this?
I know back in Israel you play this game with Cobra gunships, but I'm fine. What?
You may not want to rest like this. You have to stand, more firm.
Yeah, well, this is the way we do it in Brooklyn.
The Krav Maga.
Oh, I fell back.
Our service is completely free.
Oh my
whether
God,
you
an
just
ad?
want advice on finance, understand location.
Oprah GX, what are you doing?
Talk about specific builders at local.
Well, it's like, you know me, always going like lambs to the slaughter.
The
Just ready
gunpowder
to
is
die.
irritating my throat.
Oh, yeah.
Did you cut a little bit out? Does he also say, like, this is how we do it in Queens?
No, he said Brooklyn, but he said that. He got that in there. It was just kind of quiet. We stepped on it.
Oh!
He's just shooting. He's not shooting like a huge gun either. It's like
Yeah, it's skeet shooting.
a regular skeet shotgun.
They're acting like this is a sniper rifle that killed Charlie Kirk. It's like, this is a fucking skeet shooting. I love the casual diaspora boy nature of that.
Not ski shooting, it's skeet shooting.
You
But-
know,
I mean, this is definitely coming from
Look, this AI subtitles are trying very hard.
the liberal Hollywood writers who were like, "Oh, I would faint if I saw a gun."
Yeah, exactly. Even shooting a skeet makes me schwitz. And just thinking about all the gunpowder.
I need my inhaler.
I need my inhaler. Okay, I will go into the chamber. This is how they look at us. I swear to God.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it's a running gag. It's a self-effacing thing that a lot of American Jews do. The problem I have with it is not the self-effacing nature of it. The problem is the presenting the Israeli as competent.
If anybody is kept abreast of the various explanations of how Israeli sort of Jewish culture differs from American Jewish culture, with the idea of the masculine, of the strong, of the guy who kind of bucks the rules and is the citizen soldier versus this is within their own context. Like, this is not something that outsiders talk about much. But versus the American Jew is kind of like I'm a academic in New York University. And I'm afraid of guns. It's kind of like, it's what makes this funny if you've been kept abreast of that kind of thing. And this is what these guys are talking about.
That's the problem I have. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Oh, yeah, I'll show you. You have to stand firm to shoot the skeet.
You have to imagine there's a teenage girl there.
Yeah, just like, let me shoot. Oh no, the skeet. That baby somehow flew up there. I shouldn't have said pull and put the baby in there.
Dry Dutch guy, hello! Hello, sir. I yelled in the mic very loudly just then. I was so excited to see my favorite Dutch guy, one of two. How are we doing, good sir? Chat, all these guys are Jewish, so it's okay. Yeah, they're all Jewish. Its league's different. The Dry Dutch guy, yes. Everybody say hello to Dry Dutch guy. He's Dutch, which to me is novel. It's novel to me. Because as you know, fuck Europe. Especially those pretend countries over there in Benelux, the Lowlands, Belgium. The Netherlands, for its, in its defense, it's much more of a cohesive country than like Belgium or Liechtenstein or Luxembourg. But I've met some cool people from the Netherlands, so, fair is fair. Much better than the Belgians who are hiding behind their beer and their chocolate. Chocolate which isn't European. But the beer is pretty good, I'll admit that much. But Dry Dutch guy, I'm in a Star Wars Dungeons & Dragons group with him. Immensely cool guy. Also good looking, I must say, despite being bald. That's all I'll say about that. Very entertaining streamer, so go follow Dry Dutch guy. In fact, I will shout him out. Yeah, you heard me right. I'm not ashamed to admit that Dry Dutch guy is a good-looking man.
That's my fault. That's mine. That's my bad. I keep putting a baby where the skeets are. Oh, and the clay pigeons haven't been replaced with babies. All right.
We shouldn't have ordered the clay babies.
Anyways, So that scene is fantastic and great, and the way that this all fucking ends, beyond the actual like
I've had a bit to drink.
storylines within fucking West Wing, this old man is like, you know, Leo, his the president.
I'm not reading chat for at least 2 minutes.
Has a heart attack and stuff. I don't care about all that.
Yeah, I was like, please die quicker.
Yeah, just get it over with.
You're getting in the way of the technocratic solution.
The sound that Leo makes when he has the heart attack is, in my memory, is.
By the way, Keiko, if you want to join in,
And
let me
it
know.
is burned in my mind, and I will see if I can put it in afterward because I believe I did it perfectly.
What?
Yeah, no. So
my mind, and I will see if I can put it in afterward because I believe I did it perfectly.
Okay, look, a side that's entirely non-political here is that I kind of like, this actor's name is John Spencer, and he plays a character named Leo McGarry in the show. And what's freaky and kind of tragic about this is that John Spencer did actually die of a heart attack not long after he portrayed himself dying of a heart attack on this show. So, I mean, I don't know if there was any kind of premonition involved in this, but this actor did actually die of a heart attack not very long after portraying himself and dying of a heart attack. I think that's worth repeating. So, as he's dying in the forest here, he doesn't die yet. But actually, I think in the next season, he does actually die in the show because he died in real life. And they needed to do it off screen because he had fucking died. So, of a heart attack. So, RAP this guy.
Yeah, no, so that happens, but no, I want to talk about where this ends up. My favorite scene, because you know, it ends up with them almost having a deal, like they agree on, you know, how to partition Jerusalem. Doesn't really matter. My favorite scene that kind of like shows the entire ethos of the show, the perspective of the show, is when, you know, Chairman Farad is speaking with Lady Soldier with the shitty bangs. And
Lady Sheepdog.
Yes,
That's
Lady
Deputy
Sheepdog.
National Security Advisor Kate Harper.
Yeah. I didn't listen.
What a
And,
jokester, yeah.
I refuse to learn. And he is talking about how his family was, you know, ethnically cleansed from Gaza.
Yeah.
And I just love the liveness of this scene in which they're trying to come to an agreement on the right of return. And she's trying to explain to him that, you know, it can't be the full, you know, unrestricted right of return. Here is that scene.
I still remember the view of the valley from the roof of our house, the smell of the pomegranates, the sound of children playing in our orchard, the home.
By the way, when you learn that this actor, Chairman Farad, is actually played by a Palestinian Christian who is talking about, probably, is drawing upon his actual views, his actual memories of 1948, because he is a 48er. This actual guy was driven from his actual home in 1948 by the Zionist forces, the Haganah, the Irgun, the Stern Gang, at all. He's actually talking about it right now.
Of my father, of my aunts, my uncles, they are now art galleries and bed and breakfasts. Will I get to go home, Miss Harper?
No, sir. Probably not. But is that worth not having any home at all?
I love that because she's just like, no, take it or leave it.
Yeah, I really thought she was gonna say, "Can we ever truly go?"
No, I'm sorry. Fuck you. You and the million or so Palestinians who adjourned from their homes in the pogroms, I don't think there's any other way to put it. You're not coming home, I'm sorry. You're going to be in your Bantustans. That's the choice that you have to accept.
Go home? Can any of us ever truly go home again?
I mean, what is home other than where the heart is?
My home is gone too. They turned my neighborhood diner. It's a Starbucks now. I can't go home either. So
Yeah.
you know,
We
we're
all-
kind of in the same boat here.
We all got problems, sir. But I love the recognition of what he's saying there, you know, which is essentially talking about the dispossession of Palestinians and, you know, in his specific family and whatnot. And the kind of like, oh, geez, I know it sucks to say, but no, you probably won't be able to go home.
No, you
But
can't
look,
go
dude.
home. But at least we're not going to kill you.
But yeah, but it's either that.
I mean, at least we're not going to kill you. I mean, you know, looking back at this as a West Wing viewer, in the early 2000s, because this was an early 2000s episode, you would have thought that the worst thing you can get to is that you're not going home. You would have never thought about, you never would have imagined Biden-Harris. The Biden-Harris, and particularly the Harris campaign promise, which is like, no, I'm sorry. It's unfortunate, but 50 of you are going to have to die for every bomb that Israel drops. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Because you don't understand, Hamas is using you as human shields. Like, meanwhile, yeah, even in the camps, even in the tents and the hospitals, you don't understand. Underneath you were Hamas weapons, and we just have to kill you. Even the children, I'm sorry, but that's just... Go fuck yourself.
Or fuck you forever. You got time. I have a choice. I know that sucks. I know that hurts. I know that deep inside, it's just like, I know it's wrong. It makes me sad. But what the fuck are you gonna do about it?
It makes me sad to say so, but...
Well, fuck you.
It's either this or I gotta kill you. I don't know.
Hey, if it were up to me... And then she doesn't finish the sentence.
Also, doesn't she tell her fellow American political cohort, like, let me talk to Farad, I think he's into me, or something like that?
Oh yeah, she does.
Oh,
She does say
what a
something along
jokester.
the like, I think he likes me or something like that. You know how Arabs be. But that attitude of, it is what it is like throughout this whole fucking thing. You've got like President Charlie Sheen's dad is like, he's talking to Farad as well, and he is doing this entire fucking thing where he's just like, hey, listen, do you people want to keep being oppressed? No? Then you got to accept this fucking deal, which further dispossesses you and further solidifies your dispossession. And,
it really is like, listen, the last guy wanted to give you nothing. I'm willing to give you nothing plus that much. So take it or leave it.
Yeah. And then he goes,
I'll give you nothing plus a little massage. You want a little,
you want a little massage? I'll give you a little necky. I'm not going to do fucky sucky. No one is ever going to do fucky sucky.
I'll run my fingers through the back of your scalp hair.
But yeah, like this is that scene between Charlie Sheen.
If anyone led you to believe that we could agree to anything less than...
Do you really want to see your people oppressed for another generation? Shared custody of the city and its holy sites.
Why do you continue to support Israel? Hatred of America grows because of this, and not just in the Muslim countries.
I've done more to support you and the Palestinian cause than anyone who's ever sat in my chair. There isn't a single member of your delegation who doesn't think turning down the UN offer of a Palestinian homeland in 1947 was lunacy, a colossal mistake. Please, do not make the same mistake today.
It's on you, dog. It's on you.
I know I just totally punted on the completely reasonable question of why do I continue to support Israel.
Yeah.
This is not about me. Look, we're not asking questions about me. This is about you.
I'm not on
Israel.
trial here, sir. Listen, bro. You know how many people in your own cohort, if you ask them about 47, they'll all say the same thing. If only we had agreed to the UN resolution, 181 or whatever, the partition plan, then certainly the Israelis would be living peacefully side by side with us. I'm sure they all to a man think that. Just the rewriting of history of, to present.
I feel like I need to
point
explain
in
to
which
people.
Israel was like, Dayenu when it came to fucking like how much land they had. It would be enough. But they're like straight up. They're straight up lying. It's like this constant like victim blaming shit that the show, goes through pains to portray as like tragic but true. And it's just like, it kills me to watch this, especially from a 2025 perspective, where I'm just like, at what point is anyone, you cannot look at this fucking like narrative as being in any way realistic. Yeah, the Israelis really man, they're trying their best out here, but these goddamn, these motherfuckers, their necks are really putting a strain on my boots.
Anyway. I can't live in this house that I stole with them without hearing this constant wailing. It's like, quiet down so I can enjoy this nice Airbnb.
That's right. He's like saying to that woman, my ancestral home is now an Airbnb, and fucking my neighborhood's got like an art gallery instead of the house where I grew up. And she's just like, sucks.
Yeah, but property values are up.
Yeah. Oh God! And then it ends with the old man
They
River.
can't give it back to you now. It's appreciated.
So I feel like I need to explain that the partition plan, the plan that they're talking about in the TV show, is based on the Camp David Accords, which was a plan between the Clinton administration, Israel, and the Palestinian Authority to create to create a pathway to the two-state solution, which is not. It was an agreement. It was not an agreement to create a two-state solution. It was a plan starting from the time of agreement to a series of steps that may or may not lead to a Palestinian state, based upon mostly ticking off a bunch of requirements, primarily by the Israeli state. Like, the Israelis were the ones who were going to say that, who were going to agree to the stipulations that the Palestinians had fulfilled. And then the United States would sign off on that. And they never did. And by the way, Yasser Arafat actually did agree to these stipulations. That was the Camp David Accords. And so the two-state solution was going to be this. So it was going to be, this was the West Bank. This was going to be part of the Palestinian state. And this was going to be the other part of the Palestinian state. And they were still figuring out, one of the clauses that was yet to be agreed upon was how to connect. You see, there is a very large space here between Gaza and the West Bank. And, by the way, only East Jerusalem is going to be part of the Palestinian state. So previously, where all of this was Palestine, where Jewish Arabs, which is what they were called prior to the formation of Israel, Jewish Arabs, Muslim Arabs, Christian Arabs, they all lived in this area relatively harmoniously. No more or no less than any other kind of diverse group of people anywhere on the planet. Yes, there were some problems. Yes, they occasionally flared up into violence. No more or no less than Christians. Different kinds of Christians who lived with each other in Europe. Different kinds of Muslims who lived with each other in the East. Orthodox and Catholics. Catholics and Protestants. Everywhere around the world, different denominations had problems with each other. And it was no different in this part of the world. But by and large, they lived together harmoniously, much more so than in Europe, which had formalized legal systems that repressed Jewish people. That did not exist anywhere in the MENA region. So, where previously this was Palestine, this was the negotiated settlement during the Camp David Accords, Clinton's administration, between the Palestinians and the Jews in Israel. This was going to be Palestine. These two regions, how to connect each other. A non-contiguous, demilitarized state under the auspices of Israel and the United States. It was no better than a Bantustan. A lot of their... I'm trying to think of a equivalent. It would be like Republika Srpska in the ex-Yugoslav region of Bosnia-Herzegovina. That is a Bosnian Serb exclave within the territory of Bosnia-Herzegovina. Very limited in what it was able to do. And demilitarized. Although I don't think even Republika Srpska was... I don't think being demilitarized was ever a stipulation for their independence. So that's what it was. A Bantustan. And I'm pretty sure actually a lot of the northern parts of the West Bank were not to be included. That's what that negotiation was about.
Appreciated in value too much.
Exactly. You're gonna pay me for it? So yeah, that whole episode storyline, whatever, ends with the heart attack thing. We don't know what happens, and it looks like they're about to have a peace deal. Which, Adam, you just informed me they fuck up somehow. Oh, that's right, because the damn terror.
Because they assassinated the Israeli prime minister.
Yes, yeah.
Dang it!
A thing that has happened.
Yeah.
It's like
it was the Arabs. No, the twist this time is that it was the Arabs that killed Israel.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Not like in real life.
Not in real life when Rabin was killed by fucking right-wing Israeli fucking psychopath. Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? I love this. You have to do it that way. You have to create a world in which the Arabs did it to themselves. Palestinians are their own worst enemy.
This is 2004. You can never hand it to them unless you want to end up like Bill Maher, you know?
That's right. Exactly. And so that's the episode, and that's both of those episodes of West Wing. Let's see, final thoughts. Vince, what do you think of the West Wing? Final thoughts.
I really like it. I'm a big fan of technocratic solutions.
Same.
And, you know, after 50 years, I just have to say one option would be to get over it.
Such a good point. Such a good point. Producer Adam, final thoughts. West Wing? Best Wing?
Just a deeply embarrassing thing that I used to absolutely love. And it really aged like milk.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. Hey, look, we all used to love things that are embarrassing to love. That's just how it happens. And at the very least,
he's right in that it is deeply embarrassing to admit that you ever loved this as a young guy. And actually, I'm not that embarrassed to admit it because we're all young. We all make mistakes. This was my mistake. This is probably the worst mistake I've ever made because I'm ace.
we got to know more about the West Wing and use you as a resource, and I thank you for that. And I thank our guest as well, Zachary Foster, who is incredible. Please follow his work. Vince, where can people find you and find your work and your podcasts?
Patreon.com/Frotcast for me and Matt's podcast.
That's
you
right.
probably have heard them. You can find me on Substack, VinceMancini.substack.com, writing about movies and whatnot.
He's a fucking hilarious film critic. You're going to love him. And also our podcast together about TV is great. I mean, if you like this episode, but maybe I shouldn't use that as an example. Even if you didn't like this episode, the ones we do are better. They're better. Thank you for coming on. All of the links will be in the description for Vince's stuff, as well as Zach's. Patreon.com/badasbara, badasbara@gmail.com for your questions, comments, and concerns. All right, everyone. Thanks again so much for listening. And until next time, from the river to the sea.
Sorry, I was trying to come up with one in the moment.
I got it. I love that. From the river to the sea. I never learned his name, so I'm going to continue calling him President Charlie Sheen. His dad. That wasn't good. I'll do a better one. And until next time, or unless you have one, Adam.
I need 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, please.
All right, okay. All right, everyone. Thanks again so much for listening. And until next time, I'll do it this time. From the river to the sea. Fuck a movie. I like TV.
Hey.
I don't know, guys.
Okay, I have things to say. By the way, prior to I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if they have a filter that doesn't allow me to. Okay, they do. They don't.
Mr. McGarry.
So, this is an episode, by the way, of The West Wing, and this is very much Aaron Sorkin's writing, where they were trying to figure out. There was a nuclear test somewhere in the Middle East. I can't remember where exactly, and they're trying to figure out who did it, and they eventually settled on Iran, the Americans, and they decided that it was Iran, and they decided to threaten them with all sorts of military action, sanctions, what have you. And so they called the Iranian ambassador into the West Wing so that they can have a hard, they could do the full court press on the guy. They could be like, yeah, did you do it? Was it you? We know it was you, actually, and we're going to bomb you and sanction you even more than we already do if it was in fact you. And of course, being the Iranian ambassador, being the ambassador from any country, you're not really supposed to give anything away, because there are some advantages to giving the impression that you can do more than you actually can. So he's hedging. And this is the conversation between them.
Do you require anything else?
No, thank you, ma'am. National Security Advisor McNally, Assistant Secretary of State Slattery. I hope the trip down wasn't too inconvenient.
The summons was a bit abrupt.
Please. We'd like to discuss your nuclear program.
We have agreed to IAEA inspections, suspended production on enriched uranium.
Which they did.
Your 40-megawatt heavy water reactor at Iraq. It's a size too small for electricity generation and larger than for research.
The type that provides fuel for nuclear weapons in India and Pakistan.
And Israel, I understand.
The Iranian exile organization NCR has identified other secret enrichment facilities. The Lashkar-Abad site near Hashtgerd, a site near Amanda village.
Why are you enriching uranium?
For reactor fuel. For power generation.
You see him? This is the classic Disney Vizio. He's sly.
As our European friends acknowledge, is our sovereign right.
Power you don't need with your oil and gas reserves.
It is necessary because of rising domestic consumption rates and our desire to preserve oil and gas to generate foreign currency.
You display the Shahab 3 missile. The only logical purpose for such a long-range weapon is to carry a nuclear payload.
And we enjoy and anticipate stable relations with Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Turkey, Afghanistan. These are the nations within range of this missile.
And Israel, I understand. Sir, we believe your country has been engaged in developing nuclear weapons.
The Ayatollah has decreed their production to be haram.
That is true, by the way. For those of you who don't know, I did a documentary back in another life on the Iranian nuclear program. And the fact is that the Ayatollahs had decreed that nuclear weapons were haram because they kill way too many people. And that was one of the major reasons why they haven't explicitly and in reality actually pursued nuclear weapons development. They may be now, though, in light of recent events. And I must say, on a personal note, far too late.
Prohibited on religious grounds. We consider the development and use of such weapons to be immoral, inhumane, and against our basic Islamic beliefs. In contrast to the United States, which is not merely the only nation to ever employ such weapons, twice, but also brought the world to the brink of nuclear holocaust with the Cuban Missile Crisis.
The United States will not tolerate these weapons' further proliferation.
It is disconcerting to be dictated to by the only transgressor in human history.
Let me make myself plain, Mr. Ambassador. Evidence that Iran possesses or has tested a nuclear weapon will be greeted by the United States as a matter of gravest consequence.
Are we finished?
The ominous music.
I know what terrifies you. An Islamic bomb.
And I know what concerns Iran. A Jewish bomb.
Einstein, Oppenheimer, Teller. They're all Jewish bombs.
Bit of anti-Semitism. By the way, Islamic bomb, Pakistan already had one by then. So fast forward now, we're going to juxtapose that scene.
But they'd rather
With the scene where they meet the Israeli president. Some ads here.
Control your hunger. Reach your goal.
Commercial
Control your
TV
hunger.
station streaming service.
23 minutes to go. 120 calories plus. Too many again.
Meal sorted for the next 12 weeks.
Can't do anything about this.
Juicing and fasting, no fat, paleo, keto, and now cabbage soup.
They can keep doing it the hard way. I'm doing light and easy.
Sure.
The Nick's Gallery January sale is on now, with everything reduced across the entire range. That's affordable design for everyone. Everything is reduced during the January sale. On now at Nick's Gallery.
I've never even heard of that company.
If you've got heartburn, try this Gaviscon.
I'm just gonna kill myself now.
Gaviscon works fast to neutralize acid in the stomach.
Tastes good.
New great tasting Gaviscon chewing gum.
I apologize for the accent. This is never going to end.
Into Australia's Olympic history. To dream a future glimpse. She's the Olympic champion.
I'm so sorry for the accents in these ads. Oh my god.
On top of the world.
Let's go, Australia.
Oh no.
Our Aussies.
The green and gold is flying.
Go for gold.
Olympic gold.
The Olympic Winter Games on 9 and Stan Sport.
This is incredibly embarrassing.
He's behind you.
Yep, in a ditch.
Oh my god, it's not gonna end.
Oh, don't worry, we'll sort you out.
Nothing like being sideswiped by a cattle truck.
ladies. Do you mind?
I'm not sure this
Thankfully, the good people at UE are always
this
ready
was
to
worth
help.
making my
Tow
point.
truck's on its way.
That was easy.
Trust me, it's not my first rodeo. Or is it rodeo?
A fucking
Our
insurance
people
company.
make it easy when you need it most. Get comprehensive car insurance that's a bit more U-shaped. UE, you insured.
Okay. Oh, is this it? Oh, thank God. Oh no.
Epic summer sale now on. Thousands of tyres and wheels discounted. Get 30% off selected Yokohama tyres. Buy 3, get 1 free on selected Bridgestone, Yokohama or Kumho tyres. Get up to $200 instant cashback on selected Bridgestone, Pirelli or Continental tyres. No one beats our best tyre price guarantee. At Bob Jane T-Marts, we'll look after you.
Alright. Buy tires. From Bob J. Oh my God. Okay, I'm ending this now. I don't have a point. I'm just gonna exit the stream right now. This is intolerable. Who else is on? Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna probably raid into Dave Legend right now. So thank you for joining me. I might finish off my point here at another time. I just don't feel like doing it on my return to streaming after about many months of not streaming. The cultural cringe is real. So I'm gonna just raid into Dave Legend or Dave Legend, depending on how you want to read it. I will see you later, and thank you for being here. Lovely to see you all.